296 on the calendar in the matter of Richter versus Parker. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Miss Richter, you and the defendant were best friends, according to the complaint that I've read. You claim that you made a series of loans to her. She did not pay you back. As a result of that, you didn't have enough money to allow your daughter to be on the cheerleading squad. Ms. Parker says that you always made more money than she did. You were best friends. There was never any loan. You did things together, and you paid for it because you had more money.
Yes.
How long have you been friends?
Approximately 8 years.
And tell me about the first loan that you claim to have made.
Well, the first loan, I was approached in May of 2001. Debbie needed to attend a wedding out of state, and her credit cards were maxed out, so she needed to use mine to purchase the tickets for the airlines.
Who was supposed to go to the wedding?
Debbie and her daughter, Jessica.
Only the two of them?
Yes.
Was this
correct.
a wedding that you were supposed to attend as well?
I was approached about attending the wedding a few months earlier, and I had let Debbie know that I would not be unable to attend.
At the time you put her tickets on your credit card, had you already told her that you weren't going to the wedding?
Yes, I had already told her weeks before that I would not be attending.
And how much were those tickets?
The airline tickets were $500.
Let me see. Did you ask her to put your airline tickets on her credit card?
I told Cheryl that I wasn't going to be able to go to the wedding because I didn't have enough funds, and she offered to help me, but not with the understanding that I would pay her back. Cheryl has always helped me in the past, and if there was ever agreement to pay her back, I always have.
So you tell me your version of how it came about, because now I understand that she actually did pay for the tickets, and I want you to tell me how it came about.
How it came
Look
about,
at me.
Yes. How it came about was that myself and my daughter, Jessica, we were going to go with Cheryl and Lauren back to my niece's wedding. While we were back east, we were going to also go to New York, hang out, have some fun, and we've gone on vacations many times before. When the time came closer to purchase the tickets, Cheryl did tell me that she could not go. I think she had something going on with her daughter, but it wasn't very early on in the planning. It was fairly close, maybe a month or two before we were going to go.
A month or two was not very close. Not the last minute, as you indicate in your answer to me. Say at the last minute she canceled out. She did not cancel out the last minute. She canceled out at least a month before.
It could have been a month before.
She didn't cancel out. She said, I'm not going. Go ahead.
Right.
And you said?
I said, okay, and I hung up. Went on with my couple of weeks before I was getting ready to go. When I was going to make airline arrangements for myself and my daughter, I found that I did not have the funds at that time, and I called Cheryl and we talked. She offered to put this...
No, talking. Tell me what you did when you called her.
But it wasn't unusual for us to call each other.
You just told me you called her.
Right, I called her, we talked on the phone.
What did you say to her and what did she say to you?
We probably said, how's Lauren doing? I don't remember the exact conversation, word by word, but I did tell her that I didn't think I was going to be able to go because I didn't have the funds. Cheryl offered to put it on her credit card.
Okay, and you have to pay her back.
This isn't unusual.
No good deed is... Shh, be quiet.
In the past, if she has
I don't
ever
care
lent
about,
me any
listen
money,
to me.
I have always paid her back.
Listen to me, my dear.
This was not
Listen to me, my dear. This was your niece's wedding.
Yes.
Your answer suggested that this was a wedding that you were both supposed to go to, that at the last minute she canceled out. She had put all the tickets on her credit card. She said, I'm not going. But for the fact that you were going together as a group, you wouldn't have gone at all. That's not really what happened. What happened is she gave you plenty of notice. I'm not going to the wedding. I have something else to do. A month or two in advance. You were going to put it on your credit card. You didn't have enough credit on your credit card. You pick up the phone, you call her. Because that's what you just started to tell me.
Yes.
You have to pay her back. What's the next loan for?
After she returned from the wedding, approximately a week later, she called me and told me that she needed to borrow some cash to pay bills either towards her rent or utilities or what have you. She needed $500 and wanted to know if I would be able to lend that to her. I said that I would, and outside of the airline tickets, there's the hotel expenses on there as well when she went to the wedding. And I went to her house and I brought her a check, and she still told me that she would be paying me back within about approximately 2 months.
Do you have a copy of that check?
Yes, I do.
May I see it, please? Okay. Let's hear about it, Miss Parker.
Up until right now, when she just handed you the check, I did not remember that. I did not remember about $500. I was going to come here and tell you I didn't owe it because I didn't remember
Yeah, I see
it.
in your answer that you say that she never gave you any cash. Okay. What else?
Then after that, we went to a concert.
After that, when?
September, Labor Day weekend, the four of us. I purchased all 4 concert tickets and was to be reimbursed for the concert tickets as well as the charges on the credit card and the $500.
How much were the concert tickets?
Each ticket was $56.25, so it was $102.50 for the 2 concert tickets.
What about the concert tickets?
In August, we met at Islands to celebrate my daughter's birthday. She told me that weekend she had tickets to go to a concert, and she invited us to go. We went. She never said anything about paying her back. She was a good friend of mine.
Was a good friend. A good friend doesn't borrow money and
Well, then
not
why
pay
didn't
it
you ever
back.
say anything? I mean, our children talked online for a year, and she never said anything to me about this. And also, they invited us to her house for 4th of July. And what was that?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I don't have that kind of money either, so I had to use the fundraising.
We could have raised the funds to pay.
You could have
Different.
asked.
Listen
You
to
could
me.
have just said something to me.
Ladies.
Instead of waiting a year and then
Miss
doing this to me.
Parker.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Cheryl Richter claims former friend Debbie Parker owes for several unpaid loans. Cheryl says her daughter can't be a cheerleader until Debbie repays the money.
Miss Parker, let me ask you this question. What do you think
I don't
precipitated
know.
this? Maybe it was because she felt taken advantage of. If you didn't
If she
remember
would have just said one word to me like, I need help, can you help me?
Well, when was the first time she told you that she wanted you to give her this money back?
On July 5th of this year,
Yes.
I received a letter. I tried to contact her to make some type of arrangements. I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on. She never returned my calls.
And you can't think of any reason that that happened.
I was hoping to find out from her why she's doing this to me, why she's standing there lying.
No, there's no lying. There's no lying.
When we
You did,
went
in
to-
fact, listen to me, Miss Parker. You did, in fact, borrow $500. You said to me, I didn't remember it until I saw the
Yes,
check.
that's
Okay.
true.
So it's $500, and it's well over a year. You never paid her back. But there had to be something, July 4th, something must have triggered it. I read her complaint. She says what triggered it was she didn't have money to sign her daughter up for cheerleading.
That's correct. And in fact, when we went to the concert in September, first of all, Debbie did acknowledge that she owed the money. She told me she had forgot her checkbook. And she told me that she was sorry that she hadn't paid me back yet. And she was coming over the next night for dinner. And when she came over that night, she was out of checks.
That's not true.
And then I ran into her after that in October, I believe, having dinner and drinks with coworkers. My daughter ran into her at the mall shopping at Christmas. And in April of 2002, when my daughter was to try out for an all-star cheer squad, she went to the practices. She was approached by the coach. She was a year too young for the squad, but because her abilities were up to the level of the squad members, they would make an allowance. Well, I wasn't able to allow her to try out because I found out the cost was $2,000.
$2,000 to try out for cheerleaders?
For the entire year, including travel expenses. They're a top-ranked team in the nation, so they go to Texas and Florida for nationals. It would be for all the training as well as all of the uniforms.
Did you have to come up with the $2,000 up front?
Within a few weeks, so there was no time for me to fundraise to try to raise that money. So the coach called me the day of tryouts inquiring about whether or not she was going to try out. I just told the coach owner that I didn't know. I was embarrassed to tell her that I couldn't afford it.
Okay, so you got irritated. I
got irritated. Plus, Debbie's daughter, Jessica, is on a cheer squad, and she was able to find the $1,500 for her to participate last year and is once again on that cheer squad. Yet I'm saying no to my daughter because of the debt.
Gotcha.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I saw Cheryl, yes, out when I was at a restaurant with a girlfriend. Cheryl came in, no problem. Hey, we hugged. I go, my God, you look great. You just got back from Tahiti. She wasn't angry with me. She didn't say a word to me about any of this.
Something happened. I have a sense that whatever happened...
Maybe it was this whole thing about cheerleading, but let me tell you, please, I didn't pay a penny for her to go on cheerleading. So you should get your facts right.
Talk to me.
I didn't pay a penny.
Did she have a scholarship?
No. I fundraised. I sold entertainment books to get her on the cheerleading squad at her high school. Because I don't have that kind of money either, so I had to use the fundraising.
We could have raised the funds to pay.
No.
You could have asked.
Listen
you
to
could
me.
have just said something to me.
Ladies.
Instead of waiting a year and then doing this to me.
Miss Parker, please don't fight with each other. Gone beyond that. Just think about this. She can't fundraise to pay you back.
I understand that.
You understand that. And it's really unfortunate that a friendship denigrated to where we are. I have a feeling it is about the cheerleading. She's told you that you didn't have the money, that she fundraised. You didn't have time to do that. And I assume that it has to do with your kids, because nothing could make a mother get the tentacles out.
I just feel that this debt was not a priority to her. She found
May not have
had
been.
the time and the effort
It
to...
may not have been.
But she owes me the money, and it doesn't
She
matter.
owes you the money.
It doesn't matter if I make more money. It doesn't matter if I make less money. She owes me the money.
You are absolutely 100% right. There is no faster way of destroying a friendship than lending money. Period. I'm much older than you ladies are, and I'm telling you, based upon what I've seen, the one who lends the money always ends up as the bad one. They want it back. It's not a good time. They don't need it right now. Why is she doing this, or why is he doing this to me?
Can I say something, Your Honor?
It's not going to make it any better with her. She wants her money. She's angry. She's entitled to her money. I don't know if you can ever repair. Are you two kids friends?
Not really.
Say no. She says.
I thought we talked to her online.
She doesn't
It's
talk to her
not
online. She
anymore.
doesn't.
Oh,
She
well,
can speak.
that's
You
sad.
haven't?
Shh.
We just talked. She just talked to her, and I told her about my daughter's medical problem, and she said, "What a bummer."
Okay.
I cannot believe that you would sit in here and lie, Lauren. I can't
I
believe
wouldn't
that.
be accusing anybody of lying.
She's going to lie
I don't
that
want to
she
hear
just
about
talked
it
to
anymore. You're
Jessica?
going to 1, 2, 3.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Cheryl Richter claims former friend Debbie Parker owes for several unpaid loans. Cheryl says her daughter can't be a cheerleader until Debbie repays the money.
Listen, your emotions are hot. And it's very sad because the girls aren't friends anymore and you're not friends anymore. That's what happens when you lend money, when you borrow money, unless you have an agreement. I've always said, if you're going to be a lender, at least put it in writing. Then everybody knows the parameters. Don't be embarrassed. You have to say, listen, Judge Judy Scheindlin said, even though we're best friends, even though we're brother and sister, even though we're cousins, we really should have a writing. That way, everybody knows where they're at. Do you understand? Because they're sad. They're unhappy. They used to be friends. And it is sad. I'm not going to be able to fix it except to say that you're entitled to your money. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,600. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I don't like this because me and Jessica aren't friends anymore because our parents have a disagreement. Well, me and her were like best friends, and I don't know, it's just unfortunate that we're not going to be able to be friends. I really want to be friends with Jessica again. Well, I know it won't happen.
Amy DeVault is suing her ex-boyfriend, 21-year-old car salesman Cliff Eddy, for the down payment on a car and for several unpaid loans.
Mr. Vault, according to your claim, the defendant owes you for a down payment that you loaned to him for a car.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Eddy, if I'm reading your answer correctly, sir, you acknowledge that she gave you the down payment for the car. Is that right?
That's correct.
And it was a loan.
That's correct.
But you say she owes you money, so it's a wash.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we can go over the basics very quickly. You were living together with him when you made this loan?
For a very short time, yes.
What's the short time?
I probably had moved in and moved out within a matter of 4 or 5 days.
And during that 4 or 5 day period is the time that you made this loan?
Yes.
Don't you ever watch this courtroom? Ever? Did you ever see the cases here?
Yes.
Did you ever learn anything?
I've learned a lesson now.
Sometimes you have to get burned yourself, and you can't learn by somebody else's mistakes. But I want you to keep watching. And how much was the down payment that you loaned to him?
The down payment was $1,000, and the loan was just over $1,000 for the coverage in case we couldn't make a payment.
You're suing for $1,711. What's the rest of the money for?
I had moved in with him, and I'd given him $200 for my share of the rent. I had also paid a few bills for him, which he ensured that I would be reimbursed for, a water bill and groceries, things like that. I bought tons of things for him. You know, I'll pay you back. I just don't have money right now, he assured me. He'd lost his job, and he had paychecks that had insufficient funds behind them.
I mean, all this happened in the 4 or 5 days?
No, we had been dating for a couple of months.
According to your complaint, you have some sort of an IOU that he wrote.
Yes.
Well, I'd like to see it. Where did you get this note from?
From a store where you purchase stationary legal documents.
When did you purchase this?
In the beginning of June.
Last June.
Yes.
And tell me what days you lived with him?
Approximately the end of May, beginning of June.
And what made you have him sign this June 30th note?
I had moved out and I wanted the money for the rent money that I had given him, and I wanted it back because I didn't live there for more than 2 or 3 days in June, which the money was for June's rent, and he had spent it.
Show this to him, please. Is that your signature, sir?
Yes, it is.
So you signed this note for $315, right?
That's correct.
Now, I'm just curious, Mr. Vault, what happened to the $1,000 for the car?
After the loan had gone through, we went to the bank and we had cashed.
No, but I'm asking you is you moved out.
Yes.
Right? So why would you have him sign a note for $315 when actually he owed you, according to you, at least $1,300? Why is this only for $315?
I have a second contract.
Let me see it. All right. Well, we're talking about two different things. You took out a loan. Now, was this the loan for the car?
Yes.
All right. He's paid off the car loan.
No,
Is that right, sir?
No.
That's what you said.
I paid off the balance of the vehicle. This was a separate loan through Wells Fargo Bank
For what?
for $1,000 cash down payment for the vehicle.
Oh, I see. This you didn't pay off?
No.
Okay. Now, your defense is, sir, that she owed you money.
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
Well, we started dating. We were dated for about 4 or 5 months. She was in a sorority house then, and she would stay over at my house frequently, almost every night. When summertime came, you have to leave the house for the summer. So she moved in with me then. In the process of that, I was working at a dealership in Corvallis there, and I was looking for another vehicle. I went down to...
Could you get what she owes you money for, sir? Is that what we're getting to?
Yeah, that's what we're getting to.
Let's get there faster.
Okay. But I went down to the bank to get the loan. I couldn't get the loan because I have bad credit. So she was living with me at the time. She offered to help me out with that. We did that. There was no necessarily written contracts or anything of that
Get
nature.
to what she owes you money for, sir. I already got that part of the story. I finished with that. What does she owe you money for? What do you think? I don't remember my question? I'm not that old. Get there. Go ahead.
Well, she owes me money for the $315. I don't think is a necessary reimbursement. Other than that, the vehicle loan was paid off. There was no written contract for that. I don't think that I owe that money. The $315.
Listen to me.
It should be a wash.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I want you to tell me. I don't want you to tell me, sir, that this you don't think is right, and this you don't think is right.
Mm-hmm.
Your defense to this case is she owes me money, and therefore the $1,700 she's suing me for, the loan and the promissory note, it's a wash because she actually owed me about the same amount of money. That's your defense. Now, so you either have two things that you can do. Either you can say to me, I didn't know what I was doing when I wrote my answer because she really doesn't owe me any money. And my defense is, blah. Or you can tell me what she owes you money for.
She lived with me for about 4 months.
Okay, go ahead. She lived with you for 4 months. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, she lived with me for about 4 or 5 days, about 2 weeks, I would rather say. About 2 weeks. But the whole time prior to that, she was staying at my house almost every single day.
Yes.
And that was a matter of bills and whatnot.
Go ahead. So what does she owe you?
My duplex ran about $750 a month was my rent, plus the bills. All the bills were in my name. I lived there by myself.
Yes.
For the whole time together, I think that it should be a washout. It's a washout.
When she would come over and stay at your duplex with you, did she also maintain a room in the college dorm or someplace else?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you pay for half of that rent?
No.
Did you ever have an agreement with her to pay for half the rent while she was staying over at your house periodically?
Mm-mm.
So I want you to go like this. Blah, 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 blah. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,700. That's all.
Your Honor, this is case number 213 on the calendar in the matter of Arnie versus Weidman Arnie. You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Have seats, folks.
What is your first name?
Tressa Ani.
Tressa?
Mm-hmm.
Tressa, this is your sister.
Yes, it is.
What's your first name?
Teresa.
Teresa. Tressa and Teresa. I thought I would make this simple. It's not. That didn't make it any simpler for me. You're the boyfriend?
Mm-hmm.
And you're here because this was your car.
Yes.
Was the car in both your names or in just your name?
Just mine.
It is your claim that your sister vandalized your car.
Yes, sir.
Sister said she didn't do it. You didn't see her vandalize your car.
No, I did not.
When was your car vandalized and how?
On July 10th in the morning, I received a call from the Hennepin County Sheriff's letting me know she was being released from jail for something.
No. What I asked you was, when was your car vandalized?
July 10th, 2002.
Okay. When did you last see it when it was in good condition?
The night before when we drove home and parked it in our parking lot.
And when you went to get it on July 10th, you found it damaged?
Yes.
What time did you find it damaged?
About 8 o'clock in the morning.
And what time had you parked it the evening before?
Around 10.
Now, what makes you think that your sister did that to your car?
For starters, she...
By the way, it was keyed, according to your complaint.
It was something. Rocks, keys. We had estimates, so the guy who did the
You have
estimate...
pictures of it?
Yes, I do.
Let me take a look.
The man who did the estimate for us told us it could have been a number of...
Can't tell me what he told you. I'll take a look at it. What was cracked off?
Part of the rim. It was struck by a blunt object, probably a hammer.
This is sort of unusual keying.
There's chunks missing out of the side of the door.
Okay. I've seen your photographs. Now tell me what makes you think that your sister did any of this damage.
I can't really go into it too far, but she had been arrested for assaulting me on July 5th. She was arrested and spent 5 days in jail. And when she was arrested, she was threatening. She was throwing rocks at us at that time.
Where was she arrested?
At my mother's house. I had taken my little sister on the 4th of July to Valley Fair, and I was returning her on the day after. And this is when all this occurred. She threatened myself. She threatened my 18-month-old daughter. She said she was going to drown my child in my mom's pool, to take my little white rat-faced child the hell out of there.
Okay. But then she assaulted you.
Yeah, she grabbed a knife, said she was going to gut me like a fish because I'm pregnant.
Did she, in fact, cut you?
No, she did not.
But she threatened
Yes.
to cut you. She spent 5 days in jail?
Yes.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Are those charges still pending?
Yes, they are.
So I'm not going to go into that at all. Were you subsequently released on bail?
No, I was released on, it's like a temporary release or whatever. I'm on probation.
Okay.
Just until we go to trial.
Go ahead.
I had also previously spoken to Child Protection, which she found out about because of the way she treats her 2-year-old daughter, that she probably wanted to retaliate.
So what you're telling me is she had a motive?
Yes.
For damaging your car?
She also threatened to, and so did my mother.
Your mother too?
Yes, we had our phone disconnected and our number changed.
So not only did your sister threaten to damage your car according to you, but your mother threatened to damage your car?
Yes.
So 2 people threatened to damage your car?
Yes. My mom, her exact words were, something's going to happen. I disown you, you little, don't come back here.
Okay. What evidence do you have?
She has admitted it.
To whom?
To in courtroom, which I cannot get the transcripts till her criminal stuff is done. Right outside the courtroom, I was standing there with the district attorney and some other people that were standing
Did you
there.
hear her admit it?
Yes.
Did you, personally?
Yes, I did.
Well, tell me when that was and what you heard.
We had gone, because I had originally filed a restraining order, and they were trying to fight it, and I had brought with me the estimates of the car, and I was talking to the prosecutor, and before we went up to the judge, she was like, so what if I damaged her effing car? She made me spend 5 days in jail, and I didn't hear what she said after that.
Okay. Any other evidence that she damaged
She's
your car?
admitted it to our witness, Johnny Gurley. That's Devin's brother-in-law.
Tell me your name, sir.
My name is Johnny Leroy Gurley.
How do you know these parties?
Well, actually, this is my stepbrother here, and that's his girlfriend, Tressa.
Tressa says that you overheard the defendant acknowledge that she vandalized the plaintiff's car.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
When and where?
This was September 6th out in Mound, because I work at the Mound post office. I was happening to take out the trash, and I seen her, and I asked her if I could ask her a question. She said, yeah, so I asked her the question to where I heard...
What question did you ask her?
The question was, I heard that you had tore up Devin and Tressa's car. And her response was, yeah, I tore it up, and if I see it again, I'll tear it up again. And if I see the truck, I'll tear the truck up too.
Had you known her previously, the defendant?
Yeah.
Had you ever had any difficulty with her?
Nope.
After she answered you in that fashion, did you say anything else to her?
No, the only thing I said to her was that you need to stop all that violence.
And what did she say?
I couldn't really hear what she was saying because she was running off to catch the bus. Because she was waiting at the bus stop to go to work.
Okay. Thank you. I will start out by, for the purpose of this hearing, assuming that you're going to tell me you did not do any damage to the car, right?
Right.
What time were you released from jail on either the 9th or the 10th of July?
On the 9th of July, I was released at 8 o'clock at night.
Had you seen a judge that day?
Yeah, I seen it. I had a court to be released at 1:30 in the afternoon, and I was in a holding cell to be released until 8.
Do you know why you were being held from 1:30 to 8 p.m.?
Just to be released. They said it took that long for the release papers to come through.
Had you ever been incarcerated before?
Yes.
Immediately prior to this
No.
time? Immediately, yes, listen. You didn't listen to my question, so you don't know what the question is. Immediately before this arrest, when was the last time you were arrested?
Last year.
For what?
I was accused of threatening my brother.
Your brother?
Well, my mom and I had a domestic over my boyfriend, the guy I was dating, and I had his 12-year-old daughter staying in the house, also along with my 2-year-old daughter, and we got domestic over him. She didn't want me to see him and this and that, and so I told her I was going to leave, and she said, well, you ain't leaving with the 2 kids. So, well, I was like, well, call the police then, and I guess she made up a lie or whatever, and said I had threatened my brother, so I just got my kids and left, the 12-year-old and my 2-year-old.
So you were arrested for an attempted assault?
Right, which they dismissed the case because it wasn't true.
She threatened him with a butcher knife.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I love my family dearly, but I cannot be arrested for things I did not do. This whole thing has just been ridiculous.
Well, something is definitely out of whack in this family, and I'm not a therapist. I'm just a little old judge who's trying to find the truth.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 19-year-old Tressa Ani says her sister, 20-year-old Teresa Ani, vandalized her boyfriend's car. Tressa says it was retaliation for throwing her in jail.
Was that case resolved with the issuance of a protective order of protection?
No.
Or a restraining order, a stay-away order with regard to your brother?
Nope.
It was just dismissed?
Right.
When was the time that you were arrested immediately prior to that arrest?
I've never been arrested before that.
Okay. So you were released from jail at 8 o'clock in the evening. Was somebody waiting for you?
No, I went to the HCMC, which is the hospital downtown Minneapolis, to use the phone.
Yes.
Okay, and I waited there with one of the guys I was released with for about an hour and a half before my stepdad could come get me because I had to get a hold of somebody in town because we didn't have a phone. So he came and got me. It must have been around maybe 9:45. I got home an hour and a half later because we stopped and got gas and ate and stuff, and then we went to the house, which we live in Mound from Minneapolis, it's west. And when I got home, I just stayed home. I didn't go nowhere. You know, I visited, well, my sister's 3 kids was there, and I just visited them and then went to bed.
So your stepfather came to pick you up. You went out for a bite to eat with him, and then you went home. Now, does your stepfather live with your mother?
Yes.
So from the time you were released from jail until the next day, I assume, you were in the company of your stepfather.
Right.
Where is he today?
He's at work.
Well, what'd you bring this is your mother?
Because my mother, they was downtown since I went to court. They were waiting for me to be released. They waited for 4 hours for me to be released because they said I'd be released.
Your mother wasn't with you from the time you were released.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that when I got home, my mom was there waiting for me.
But your mother wasn't there.
Right.
To pick you up, take you home. So if you had to bring a witness, why wouldn't you bring the witness who was with you from the time that you were actually at the area where you were released until the next morning?
Because Shakopee, where she lives at, isn't nowhere near Minneapolis, neither is Mound. So how am I supposed to get from Minneapolis to Shakopee with no money, without being able to take
Maybe your
money for the bus.
stepfather drove you there.
Why would my father do that? So I can go back to jail?
Maybe he was angry.
He ain't
What
angry.
do I know? He's not here. How would I know? I mean, it just seems sort of foolish. I'm just telling you for the future. If you have a witness who can solidify a defense, and you choose to bring another witness to court who can't, that looks stupid. Do you understand?
Yep.
I mean, you have stepfather and you have a mother. One can say, she was with me all the time, we didn't go near their house. That person you leave home. The person who says, well, she did come home that night at some point, but I wasn't with her all the time, that person you bring to court. It doesn't sound smart, right? All right. Anything else you want to tell me?
Yes, since this has all happened, I have basically had my life turned upside down. I have been arrested for her warrant. She used my name. It says I'm blonde, I weigh 135 pounds, and I'm 5'6", and I had light green
I don't know what
eyes.
you're talking about.
About a month after this happened, I was arrested for I live in Scott County, for a warrant in Hennepin County, when I've never lived in Hennepin County in my whole life. She does, and the address on the warrant was my mother's. It was her social security number, but my name.
What were you arrested for?
Supposedly a disorderly conduct. 2 weeks after that, I got a notice from the Minnesota Department of Transportation saying my driving privileges are being suspended. I got pulled over in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. That's where her boyfriend lives. I was driving a car with no insurance. Both of our cars are fully insured. And I ran a stop sign or something telling me I had a $150 fine or something, and if I didn't pay it, my driving privileges were being suspended. So the district attorney's looking into it, talking to the Brooklyn Park Police to see if he could identify who was actually pulled over. I mean, I love my family dearly, but I cannot have things damaged. I cannot be arrested for things I did not do. I cannot have my driving privileges suspended. This is just ridiculous. This whole thing has just been ridiculous.
Well, something is definitely out of whack in this family, and I'm not a therapist. I'm just a little old judge who's trying to find the truth. So let me see your estimates. And let's talk about truth with regard to these estimates. How old is this car?
It's a 2001 Pontiac Trans Am.
Your Honor, may I speak for a minute? I do not have any warrants against me.
No,
Use
she
my
says,
name.
what she says
Where's the
is,
paper?
I'm speaking. What she says is that you don't have any warrants against you, that somehow she had the warrants against her, but the description of the person on the warrant was you, or somebody who looked like you, only using her name and social security number. Doesn't your car have any sort of insurance?
It's a $500 deductible.
So really what your out-of-pocket is going to be when you have it fixed is $500.
Yes.
I find that based upon his testimony, the fact that the defendant had certainly a motive to cause some damage to your car, that she had an opportunity to do it, that she made a statement to this gentleman that she in fact did it, that she did it. But your insurance is going to cover it, but for the first $500 on a new car, if you have a $500 deductible. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
My brother did that damage with her boyfriend, which was drunk.
That's ridiculous, and if I have to go to criminal court, I will.
He said he was doing a 360 and hit a curb. That's why her wheels messed up.
She admitted to my brother, to him, to everybody, to myself in the courtroom, in front of everybody, that she did it and that she was going to do it again.
It's lies.
Jealousy, I don't know what it is.
So, in other words, I'm just screwed.
I just can't believe my family is disgusted.
Judge, you may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
What's your first name?
Jennifer.
How old are you, Jennifer?
I'm 18. I just turned 18 3 days ago.
Order.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
How old are you, Mr. Roberts?
23.
What's your first name?
Raymond?
Jennifer, Raymond was your boyfriend.
Yep.
You claim he owes you some money. Not a whole lot of money. $300 some odd dollars.
Yep.
You said he owes you the money for the following two items. You gave him $100 in which to put down as a deposit for the limousine for your senior prom.
That's right.
And you had an argument, and he kept the money, and he didn't take you to the prom. And you acknowledged that you kept the $100.
I guess I did.
And then you say that over the course of your relationship, you sold candy for school, and he took your candy money. And about that, Mr. Roberts says, she took me out for dinner, and we went places together.
That's not true.
I'm just telling you what he says. That's his answer. Then you say that he came to your house when you weren't home with a police officer and took a Christmas gift that he had bought you.
That's right.
Which was
Supposedly it was a stereo. I did buy a stereo, but it was not a gift.
A stereo that was in her house.
A stereo that was at her house.
And you took that and you want the value of that back, or the stereo back.
Yep.
You say it was a Christmas gift.
Yep, it was.
Now, Raymond says that you owed him money for a Sprint bill.
That's not true.
Just telling you what he says. And that he merely was collecting on that. That's what the $100 was for?
Yep,
as
100,
well
yeah.
as the stereo.
The stereo, no. The stereo was mine. I was taking it back.
And Raymond is counterclaiming, he said, because you and your mother sort of overreacted to a little argument you were having and had him arrested for kidnapping
he was
you.
never arrested.
Shh. And he was forced to defend these charges temporarily, right?
Right.
How old was she when you started to date her, Raymond?
17.
And how old were you?
At the time I was 22.
Not terrible, not terrific. What did she owe you money for?
She owes me money for the Sprint bill for the 2 months.
Now, how is it that you're paying her Sprint bill?
I have 2 phones, and I let her use one of my other phones. And we agreed that...
Just a minute. You got a phone for yourself.
Yes, I've got
And
a
you
phone.
gave her a phone.
Yes, under my name.
And when did you do that? How long ago?
I think it might have been sometime in October. I might have gave her the phone, September, October.
She was 17.
Correct.
And you had an agreement with her.
Yes.
And what was your agreement?
That would split the bill in half. I'd pay my half, she'd pay her half.
That's not right.
So what you're telling me is you had a verbal contract with her.
Correct.
You can't.
Can't.
Right. She's not old enough. She's not old enough to make that contract. She has to be 18 in order to make a contract that's valid and binding. So, Raymond, that's one of the downsides of dating a younger woman.
I'm learning that now.
So she owes you diddly.
Okay.
So let's start with you owe her $100 for the limousine.
Okay.
So $100, Jennifer is on your side.
Yep.
Now, I don't want to hear about the candy money. I want you to forget the candy money. If you were dumb enough to give him candy money or to spend candy money, I don't want to hear about it. Yes, you want to say something? It sounded like you were winning the candy money.
No, she still has belongings of mine at her house.
I'm not there yet.
Okay.
We are now on the stereo
All right.
that she says was a Christmas present, and you said was just yours.
This is fine.
When did you get the stereo?
Christmas Eve was put in my house, and my mom was actually there. And he actually said to her, you know, this is a Christmas gift. I bought it for her.
And it was in your house starting Christmas time?
Yep.
When did you take it out of the house?
I think it was like March.
So, December to January, January to February, February to March. It was in her house for 3 months.
Correct.
Who do you live with?
My grandparents.
Do you have your own room?
Yes.
You have a stereo?
No.
So if you bought the stereo in December, I assume that that's what the receipt says, that it was purchased in December?
Correct.
What date in December?
17th, which she was with me.
If it was purchased in December and you don't have a stereo in your room, why didn't you take it to your house?
I was letting her use it.
Baloney. Let me see the bill. You have the perks of a younger woman. You have to have the plagues of a younger woman. Plague is she's not old enough to make a contract. Okay, so this whole thing cost $189?
Correct.
Where's the stereo now?
At my house.
In your?
In my room.
In your room?
In my room.
Where it would have been from the very beginning if it was bought for you. Now, a couple of other questions just for my own information, sir. What did Jennifer get you for Christmas?
Electric shaver and a couple of shirts.
A couple of shirts.
Yes.
What did you get for Jennifer for Christmas? See what I mean? Got where I'm going?
Yeah.
Raymond? Got where I'm going?
Yes, I do.
Good. So we have $289 on your side, because now Raymond gets it. Right, Raymond?
Yes.
Didn't think fast enough.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get to your counterclaim.
Okay.
You had an argument in the car.
Correct.
What date?
March 5th to be exact.
And the argument was about your being cheap?
If you want to put it that way.
What?
If you want to put it that way.
Well, that's what it was about. You're being cheap. You're mooching off her. I mean, I read the complaint.
No, I wasn't mooching off her. I was just asking her for, simple money for the bill. That's all.
That's what she was complaining. Don't play with paper around me. So you're having the argument in the car.
Correct.
And what happened?
We got in a major argument about money, both the Sprint bill and everything. And She said, oh, I'm not going to pay for the bill. I don't have to pay for the bill. You know, I was like, well, you used the phone. You know, I think you should be responsible for the charge if you're going to use the phone. And she said no, and I said, fine. You want to be that way towards me? I will take the limo money, and I'll use that limo money to cover your part of the bill since you want to pay me the money, and we'll take it from there. It'll be fine. Well, from that point on, she decided to call her mother and say I was threatening her. Made a huge big deal out of everything. She said, bring me home, bring me home, bring me home. I said, fine, I'll bring you home. When she told me she wasn't going to pay the bill, when she was on the phone with her mother, I actually called Sprint, and I had the phone shut off right then and there. And I guess that's when her mother panicked and decided to call the state police and the cops, and I had the cops.
That was really stupid of you, Raymond.
Yeah.
Girl is talking to her mother,
yeah.
Right? So her mother knows she's safe, she's well. You pick up your cell phone and you call Sprint and you say, cut off the other number?
If that was my phone.
I was...
Listen, don't speak. I'm not talking to you.
All right.
I was not expecting them to shut off right then and there, because I didn't think they could shut off.
What
the
did you
phone
say
with
to
phone
them
service.
to have them shut it off right then and there?
I asked them if they could
curious.
shut off the service, and no, basically you can't have incoming or outgoing calls.
And they said okay?
They said fine. I didn't think they could do it during a phone call. My mistake.
Well, you found out that they could.
Yeah, I did, the hard way.
Tell me what happened. Were you arrested? Were you
No, I
charged with anything?
No, I was not arrested.
Well, then what happened? So
Just
what
an
do you...
embarrassment of a false restraining order because...
Okay, so they took out a restraining order against you?
Took out a restraining order on me a couple days later.
You have a copy of the allegations that you made in the restraining order? Raymond,
Yes,
you ever been arrested before?
a long time ago.
How long ago?
Maybe 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. Yeah,
Nothing since.
nothing.
You work? You have
Yes, I work.
nice job?
Decent job.
What do you do?
Actually, I'm training to be a manager at McDonald's right now.
So you're working at McDonald's?
Correct.
Okay. You don't look like a bad guy, Raymond. You don't look like you have a bad temper. Does he have a bad temper?
Oh, yes.
Never touched you, did he?
No.
You have a bad temper?
No.
Huh?
No.
She have a bad temper?
She has her moments. she has her moments that she can
When I'm
flip
with
out.
you.
Oh.
Well, either you have
Oh,
a
hey.
temper or you don't have a temper. You understand? Daughter sometimes has a temper?
Yeah.
Sometimes. Do you think you overreacted to this a little bit?
I don't. I was scared if he shut off my cell phone.
Well, see, Raymond, that was your mistake. Do you understand?
Yes.
That was really your mistake. Aside from the fact that when this happened, she was 17. Dating a minor is an issue. I can imagine how her mother felt. She's talking to her daughter. Her daughter's 17-year-old idiot who's in the car, is having a fight about whatever. And all of a sudden, no, don't speak. And all of a sudden, that conversation is interrupted and she can't get back to her daughter. One day you'll have a daughter. You will understand what that must feel like. You understand?
Yes.
The charges were dropped on this protective order?
Yeah. 2 weeks later on the date that we're supposed to, see if it was going to get extended or not, it got dropped.
Right. Because everybody
Because-
got cooler. Good. Okay. So, Raymond, next time you'll be smarter. Next time, pick on somebody your own age. You'll be much happier. Look at their birth certificate. Make sure that they're 18 or over before you make a contract with them. Understood?
Understood.
All right, you get $289. $100 for the limo, $189 for his Christmas present that he took back. You, on your counterclaim, get nothing but a good lesson. All right? Thank you very much. Two nice
Thank you.
people. Move on with your life. Have a happy life.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He was a very controlling guy, and I just figured put it on national television to see the whole world how controlling he is.
It's okay. It sounds fair. My mistake.
I didn't like him from the beginning because she was only 17.
My mother doesn't know how to stay out of things.
When he wanted her to go somewhere, she had to do it.
She's always trying to tell me what to do.
If he didn't want her to go, she couldn't do it.
I'm not seeing a 23-year-old again.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Macias versus Ayala, step forward, please.
Medical coder Alina Macias is suing the mother of her son's schoolmate, business owner Sandra Ayala, for the cost of her son's medical bills and pain and suffering. Alina says Sandra's boy injured her son with a pencil.
Step over there. No, you have...
Yeah, no.
Okay, you too.
What's your first name?
Nathaniel.
And yours?
Jonathan.
Nathaniel, you were injured in school.
Right.
With a pencil.
Yes.
You sat down, according to the complaint. You sat down on your chair, and you were stuck in the rear end with a pencil which lodged in your buttocks. and had to be surgically removed. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And it is your claim that this young man was responsible.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I assume that you didn't see how the pencil got there. Because if you had seen how the pencil got there, you wouldn't have sat on it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you didn't see how it got there?
No, ma'am.
So Jonathan here is going to tell me, because I read the answer about the flying pencil, but I want him to tell me himself how the pencil got on his chair. So we're going to start from turn around and look at me.
12-year-old Nathaniel Mancha says his classmate, 12-year-old Jonathan Ayala, stuck him with a pencil. Jonathan claims it was an accident.
How old are you?
12.
How do you do in school?
Good.
How is your conduct in school?
Good, too.
Never have any complaints by the teachers?
A little bit only.
Speak up.
A little bit only.
And when the teachers complain about you a little bit only, what do they complain about?
Like sometimes talking and then like a little bit slacking off.
Now, you know Nathaniel, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long has he been in your class?
This year only.
Do you like him?
Uh-huh.
Did you play together?
Uh-huh.
Do you remember the day that he was hurt with the pencil?
Uh-huh. Yes, ma'am.
Tell me how the pencil got on his chair.
Well, I was doing my work and like the pencil was like small, so I didn't want it anymore. So I wanted to throw it to the trash, and
It's just the pencil was small.
yes.
And you're sitting in your seat.
Uh-huh.
And you wanted to throw the pencil in the trash.
Yes.
Where was the trash?
Next to Nate's chair.
And how far away from Nate were you sitting?
At least like 2.5 feet.
So very close.
Uh-huh. But
So now you got this little pencil, and you wanted to throw it away, and the trash was right next to him.
yes, it was right next to his chair.
What were you going to use to complete your work?
Another pencil that I had on my desk, which was bigger.
So you had a little well on your desk where you could keep the pencils?
And no, I always put my pencils next to my papers.
Do you have a book bag?
Yeah, in my backpack.
Where is your backpack?
I left it home that day.
What were you wearing to school?
My school emblem shirt and my jeans.
Your shirt have a pocket?
No.
Your jeans have a pocket?
Yeah, but they're tight.
You know you're pretty swift. You think that you're smarter than I am?
No.
You're not, Jonathan. Believe me, you're not. You know where I'm going with these questions?
Uh-huh.
Where do you think I'm going with these questions?
Trying to see if I'm telling the truth or not.
Yeah, trying to see if you could put the pencil someplace else rather than throw. What you're going to tell me is you threw the pencil into the trash. Or
No,
you
I
tried to throw it into the trash.
Yeah, I was going to.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And it landed straight up on Jonathan's chair. And he sat on it. Right?
I didn't land straight on the chair. It was going through the chair when he sat on it because he was...
It was in midair when he sat on it.
Yes, it was pointing up.
How do you got hurt?
Uh-huh.
Well, whose fault do you think that is?
Mine.
Right. Now we're getting somewhere. Why is it your fault?
Because I threw a pencil.
Because you threw the pencil. You had choices. Right?
Uh-huh.
You chose throwing the pencil. Right?
Right.
So whether you threw the pencil and he sat on it or you placed it on his chair as sort of a joke, it's your fault. Right? See, I knew we'd get somewhere. You got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Now you can sit down. I mean, Miss Ayala, quite frankly, you wrote the answer. You told me in the answer that this was nobody's fault. It was the pencil's fault. Oh, next to your mother. It's not the pencil's fault. It's his fault. He had choices. And at age 12, he has to understand that there are consequences to making the wrong choice. His choice was he could have held on to the pencil. He could have put it in his pocket. He could have placed it on the floor. He chose to throw it, according to him, which way out, but you know, not impossible. Certainly not his fault that he sat down on his chair, right?
Right.
So now your son understands that it's his fault and his responsibility that he got hurt. Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand.
Perfect. Good. Now can I see his medical bills?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of treatment did you get?
They put me under.
Under anesthesia?
Yes. And I had to get the pencil surgically removed from my buttocks.
Did you have any stitches?
Yes.
How many stitches did you have?
1.
Were you uncomfortable for a while?
Yes.
What did Jonathan say after you sat on the pencil? Did he apologize?
No.
Has he ever apologized to you?
No.
Have you spoken to him since this happened?
Yes.
Are you back to being friends?
Yes.
Good. Did you apologize?
No, I never got a chance to.
Well, now's a chance.
Sorry, Nate, for throwing the pencil.
Certainly, Miss Ayala, you don't expect the plaintiff to bear any of the cost of treating her son. They had almost $600 in unreimbursed medical bills, and that you are responsible for. Because as between the two of you, he's innocent and he's not. Whether he did it as a joke or whether he did it because he was negligent or because he wasn't thinking. So you are responsible for those medical bills. Are these your only bills?
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $600, that's all.
Parties are accused. You may step out.
Because it was April Fool's, I thought it was a joke. He never made a malicious intent to hurt anybody. He started crying and panicking and that there was a pistol stuck in his rear.
I didn't mean to do it on purpose.
This wasn't a malicious act.
I think it was an April Fool's joke.
You were living together, you bought a dog together. Then you separated. Where's the dog now?
She took the dog.
He has a serious bone to pick with his ex.
We had an agreement when we bought the dog.
That in case you separated, you would get the dog.
Yeah, and she would lose her half.
But is he barking up the wrong tree?
You also agreed to pay for half the dog, which you didn't do.
There's a lot more to it, though.
There may be a lot more.
Has been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Ruiz,
Yes,
it's over. You understand that?
yes,
Good. You have a son together with the defendant?
that's correct.
Do you visit with your son?
She hasn't let me see him since she got the temporary restraining order.
Did you file a petition for visitation with your child?
Not yet. I'm in the process of doing
That's what you have to do, okay? You can't come and fetch that you don't have visitation unless you filed a petition for visitation. Do you understand?
that. Yes, I do.
All right, so let's deal with this case, and I'm going to make 1, 2, 3 of it because I've read it. 2 things. You were living together, you have a child together, you bought a dog together. And according to you, the dog was $600?
No, it was $500.
$500. And each of you was supposed to pay half. You put in $150. So you didn't finish paying for your half. Then you separated. So you want the money you put into the dog.
We had an agreement when we bought the dog.
I read the agreement, that in case you separated, you would get the dog.
Yeah, and she would lose her half.
Well, that may be, Mr. Ruiz. Let me explain something to you. You also agreed to pay for half the dog, which you didn't do. Right?
Yeah.
So there's no agreement. I mean, I read you said if you separate, you're going to get the dog. Well, but your first thing you were supposed to do was pay for half, which you didn't. Got it?
Yeah.
All right. So where's the dog now?
She took the dog.
Perfect. And how old is your son?
He is 15 months.
Does he play with the dog?
Yeah, he played with all the dogs we had.
Did he play with the dog?
Yes.
Get over it. Do you understand, Mr. Ruiz?
Yeah, there's a lot more to it, though.
Listen, there may be a lot more to it. For that, you'll see a therapist. This is a court.
Yeah. She needs to see one.
This is a court, Mr. Ruiz.
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing you're suing her for is you say that she filed allegations that were false and got a restraining order against you.
Yeah.
But I read very carefully your complaint, and it seems as if that case was heard before a judge who granted her a final order of protection, right?
Yeah.
So that matter has been determined already.
They didn't allow for me to speak. She
Mr.
put down I killed
Ruiz.
10 people.
Mr. Ruiz, a court is a court is a court. There are different standards of proof in every court, but in a civil proceeding, the quantum of proof in a civil proceeding is either this much evidence or this much evidence that something happened. In a criminal proceeding, it's this much evidence. You already had a hearing in a civil court with regard to your protective order, and a judge already made a determination by the same quality of evidence that I have to rule on that you were guilty of whatever acts she alleged and granted her a restraining order. So you cannot sue her for filing false charges against you, because that would mean that you get to try the case twice. We don't give people twice in this country in a civil case. Do you understand?
Yeah, I
I'm trying
understand.
to explain the whole thing to you.
I got it.
Why I'm dismissing your case, because you have no case. Now, the only thing that you have is you have, to me, a legitimate desire to see your child, and you should do that, and you should do that as expeditiously as possible. And that I'm going to discuss with Ms. Connolly, who has a counterclaim.
Yes, I do.
She has a counterclaim that you have certain property that belong to her. Return the value of a crib, Christmas decorations, and family photos. Plus, she says you hung the dog out the window and threatened
That is not
to, and
true.
that's dog abuse. Did you raise that issue before the other judge?
No, I didn't. No, I did tell him that. I did mention that in court.
Well, fine, good, perfect. Then I don't want to hear about it. You've already discussed that with another judge. I don't hear cases twice. That's it. That part of it is over. Do you get it?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. Now, this crib that you want back, who bought it?
He purchased it, and I purchased the matching changing table. I was able to take the changing table out of there, but he refused to give me the crib because
He doesn't have to.
Okay.
He purchased it. And hopefully he'll have visitation. He'll be able to use it.
Okay.
So he doesn't have to give you back the crib.
Okay.
Christmas decorations, who purchased them?
I did, Your Honor.
Good. When?
I purchased them over the last few years. I recently, because we've had my son, I went out and bought all new plastic bulbs because we had a majority of glass bulbs. And also my son's first Christmas stocking, his first Christmas bulb from when he was first born. He was born in October.
And who bought that?
A friend actually gave it to me for a Christmas present for my son. It's his first
Gave it to whom?
Gave it to me and bought it for my son as his first bulb.
You know anything about what she's talking about?
When she was supposed to come get her property, when you get a restraining order, you have a certain amount of time to get your property. She kept stringing me along. She had the 10-day restraining order. She wanted to see me. She kept groveling back.
Just a second. Do you have this property in your house?
I don't take the stuff off the tree. She took the stuff off the tree. When she
Do you
came
know
to get
where
her
it is?
stuff, it should be downstairs. I called the police to get her things
Mr.
out.
Ruiz,
I
this
told
is
her to
all I
take
want
them.
you-
She
this
didn't
is
take
all
them.
I want you to do, sir. The crib you keep, you
Yep.
purchased it. I want you to go downstairs and see if you find these Christmas decorations that she wants. Put them in a box, and I want you to be smart. Listen to me. I'm older than you are. I've had more experience with this stuff. Take all the Christmas decorations, put them in a nice box. Family photos, those belong to the two of you, not just you.
Absolutely.
So if you can divide them so that she gets some pictures of the baby when he was little and you get some pictures of the baby when he was little, if you can do that, fine. Any pictures of her family, give her. You're going to have to be together in some way for the next this growing up. Don't do anything with regard to this property that is going to make her any more bitter than she is, or you any more bitter than you are. So let's start with this little bundle of property. So I'm going to prepare an order that you will examine your basement and return to her, if it's there, the Christmas decorations and her family photos. Her family photos. What?
I'm sorry. He actually has a majority of the photos on his computer already, burnt into the computer. And that's from when my son was first born, just fresh coming out of me on the table, my baby shower, that he has all those downloaded in his computer, as well as photos in his cameras.
Okay. Do this, Mr. Ruiz. Is that true?
She's printed out over half of them already. I don't know what she's talking about.
Just a second. Do this. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give you a start at rebuilding some sort of civility between the two of you so that when you get your visitation with your son, which you should have,
Oh, I will get him.
you'll be able to go over it, pick him up, make an exchange that's pleasant, maybe even go to a joint birthday party that you make for him. Do you understand what I mean? That's a nice thing to do. So if it means, I want you to watch how clever I am, burning a CD for her.
Thank you. That's what I want.
Am I hypotech or what?
Yes, you are.
Getting the lingo. I have absolutely no idea what it means.
I love it, though.
Burn a CD for her of all those pictures and put it in the box with the Christmas decorations. Be smart. It's an olive branch.
Yeah, I never said I wouldn't do that.
Fine. Great.
I
That's
never
what's
said I
going to
wouldn't.
happen.
When the police was
Easy
there, I
enough?
said,
Easy
you know,
enough?
it takes time.
Easy enough? 5 days to do it? Now, Ms. Connolly,
Yes.
you picked him.
Yes, I did.
You picked him and you made a baby with him.
Yes, I did.
And your baby has a right to know his father.
Absolutely. I am not disputing that, Your Honor.
When would you like him to see him?
I told him I will not dispute visitation, period. But the problem is, Your Honor, is the reason I will not dispute visitation as far as joint and full custody, because he wanted to take my son to Florida. And this happened in July when I left him originally also, because he kept threatening me because I am a young parent.
Okay. So you won't
Tell him what
dispute
led up to
visitation.
everything.
Shh. You won't dispute visitation, but there's a but.
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You don't want to be a stupid single parent, do you?
No, I do not.
Perfect.
She is.
What did you say?
She is.
And you're a genius.
I'm not a genius.
And later today,
His reason wasn't really legitimate.
What difference does it make what his reason was?
It makes a huge difference because it was only 3 weeks left.
You mean you would have preferred that he married you and then left you?
Roberto Ruiz says the mother of his child, Eleanor Conley, owes for half the cost of a dachshund and for lying to obtain a restraining order. Eleanor is countersuing for the return of her belongings.
What's the but?
The but is I just want to make sure that, A, my son is safe. He mentioned to me that when my son gets older, he's going to tell him what his mother's all about. And
Just a second. He wishes he would eat those words and they never came out of his mouth because he's not going to be stupid, right? Stupid means you made a child with her and you're not supposed to say anything bad about her to your son. That only makes him feel bad. And she's not supposed to say anything bad about you.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't make him feel good. The child feel good.
Absolutely.
That only makes you feel good. Got to start with the olive branch.
It's kind of hard to do when she put down, I killed 10 people to get a restraining order.
That's what he stated to me.
Mr. Ruiz.
That's a little far-fetched.
Mr. Ruiz, you're not getting it, sir. When was the last time you saw your son?
When she had the 10-day restraining
When?
order. About 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
When she knew that I wasn't going to take her back.
Absolutely
3 weeks?
not.
I'm sorry. Stop.
I'm sorry.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, I would have been at the courthouse 2 weeks ago seeking visitation.
I couldn't do that. We all had a family vacation plan. Her, my son, that's named after my father, my foster father. We were all going to Florida. That was already planned. This happened a few days before that happened. Had to change all the flight plans.
So?
So I couldn't go down there. I had to work.
Okay. All right. Well, see if you can work it out.
Excuse me, Your Honor?
What?
I got the restraining order on February 5th. He should have went that day to probate court and requested
Miss
visitation.
Connolly, do I look like... Listen.
I'm sorry.
She's been coming over my house. I was seeing my son.
No, I have not.
Miss Connolly?
Yes.
I believe you have.
I did.
Just
'cause he-
listen to me. I believe you have. That's what happened.
Two
He doesn't
occasions.
say...
I'm sorry.
He doesn't say that unless that's true. And it's not an unusual occurrence. You can't give him a yin and a yang. You know, you understand, which is what you were doing.
Yes, you
He
were.
has to see his child. He was involved with his child. He loves his child just like you love his child. So I suggest very strongly that you make arrangements for him to see him. He's hurting because he's not seeing him. And
right.
that's what you have to do. And the longer you wait, the angrier it's going to be. And that is stupid. And you don't want to be a stupid single parent, do you?
No, I do not.
Perfect.
She is.
Okay. What did you say?
She is.
And you're a genius.
I'm not a genius.
And you're a genius.
I'm not a
The
genius.
case is dismissed. Make sure you get the property back to her. I'll prepare an order. You don't get it, Mr. Ruiz.
Oh, I get it.
No, you don't get me.
I got you.
You don't get it. That's all. Out.
Parties are excused. Ma'am, wait here.
I found out she was being unfaithful,
He had threatened me about a good number of 6 times.
and I kicked her to the curb like most people would.
He's a very violent person. Anybody that knows him knows that.
I'm going to fight for full custody because he's in an environment that's not safe.
I just hope that he and I can be civil for the case with my son. I love him to death.
The child's the one that's suffering.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Leonard versus Calvert. Step forward, please.
Carol Leonard is suing her ex-fiancé, Brian Calvert, for wrecking a four-wheel ATV when he drove it drunk. Brian claims the bike had a malfunction.
Miss Leonard, you and Mr. Calvert were in a relationship. You met at work, according to your complaint. Shortly after you met, Mr. Calvert wanted to buy a four-wheeler. And according to you, he got drunk?
Yes, he did.
He took out the four-wheeler. He wrecked it.
Correct.
And since it was purchased on your credit, you're stuck with it.
Correct.
Mr. Calvert has an interesting defense. First, he says that you bought it for him.
No.
He merely helped to make the payments on it because he was a nice guy. And if I don't believe that story, then it's really your fault that he wrecked the bike because the bike had a recall notice that was in your mail that you didn't tell him about. And since he almost got killed, it was your fault that he's got $8,000 worth of medical bills because if you had told him about the recall notice, he would have taken the bike in to have it checked. That's his defense. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Miss Leonard, when did you and Mr. Calvert start to have a relationship?
The beginning of August 2005.
And when did you buy these wheelers?
August 19th.
Of 2005?
Yes.
Well, tell me about the conversation that you had. You knew him for a couple of weeks.
Well, I had a business relationship with him before that. And then I did start dating him. And he said he wanted to buy the four-wheeler. We call them bikes. but his log home hadn't sold yet. It was going to sell in September. And he said if I bought it, he would have it for my birthday. My birthday's August 31st, and then he would pay me for it when his log home sold.
What do you mean he would have it for your birthday? So he was giving it to you as a birthday
No,
present?
we were going to go. They're actually a lot of fun to ride in West Virginia, and we were going to go on a big ride for my birthday.
When did you and Mr. Calvert separate?
Shortly after this accident, the beginning of May.
Okay. Now, how many payments did he make on the bike?
Probably about 3.
And what happened?
He did not keep making them, and it strained our relationship. And the problem really with Brian and with this whole incident is that he has a serious alcohol problem. And alcohol basically has ruined his life, because we had a good relationship when we were together. He didn't drink, but when he does drink, it's a nightmare. He either goes to jail or he goes to the hospital. One or the other. And that's what happened with this. As a matter of fact, he has 4 DUIs. 1 was on a 4-wheeler.
You still didn't tell me what happened when he stopped making the payments. If you
Nothing.
made 3
I made
payments.
the payments.
The accident was in May of 2006?
April.
April. Did you start drinking in April, Mr. Calvert?
I had a couple of drinks that night, ma'am.
Why?
Just the rest of us was drinking.
But you know you have a drinking problem.
I had a drinking problem, ma'am.
No, you have a drinking problem. You're always an alcoholic if you have a drinking problem.
Yes, ma'am.
You may be a recovering alcoholic, but you're always an alcoholic.
Yes, ma'am.
So what caused you to drink?
We was just having a couple beers, ma'am.
But you hadn't been drinking for a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
And after you started to drink, you got on the 4-wheeler?
We was on the 4-wheeler before we started to drink. I mean, we had the alcohol with us.
You ended up in the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
How seriously injured were you?
$8,000 worth of hospital bills.
Now, Miss Leonard, did you ever notice on these bikes?
The one that he was talking about with the throttle sticking, that was fixed before I ever bought the bike. And I have that statement right there.
Can I see it, please?
Right here is the claims history that the throttle was fixed prior to my purchasing it.
Have you seen this, sir? That the throttle that you complain about was fixed? And the repair was done August 19th of '05, when it had 2 miles on it.
On that bike, it wasn't, we bought the bikes before that. I mean,
No, sir, I don't care when you bought the bikes. Just listen to me. This indicates that on the VIN number of your bike, that throttle problem was repaired, looks like before it was purchased. The repair was done on the 19th of August, which is the date that it was purchased. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You want to look at this?
No, ma'am.
So the throttle didn't freeze, sir. Your brain froze. So that takes care of the second defense that you had. The throttle was fixed at the point of purchase. So if there was a recall notice generally sent out to everybody who had this bike, yours had already been fixed. So let's not deal with that piece. Let's deal with the fact that it was bought for you. You want to tell me that story?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm listening.
Her son wanted a different bike at the time, and she said, no, we're buying this bike because, I mean, that's the bike that she said, you know, I preferred to get. So that's the bike she got.
For her son?
No, it was too big for her son.
Just a second. I'm not following you, sir. I mean, if you're trying to confuse me, you're doing a very, very good job, and I'm not easy to confuse.
The bike was bought for me, ma'am.
You mean as a gift?
Yes, ma'am.
Then why did you make payments on it?
I helped her out when she needed help on making the payments on it.
Well, explain that to me, sir. Explain to me how it came about that you helped her out.
Numerous of times she asked me to make the bike payment.
Tell me about it. When was the first time she asked you to make a bike payment?
I don't have the dates with me.
Well, where are you supposed to get them from?
I gave her cash money, ma'am.
You think I believe you? Why in the world, sir, if she was involved with you 2 weeks, would she spend $7,000 on you? Why?
Ma'am, we lived together at the time.
No, that's not true.
Not August 19th, sir. You did not.
If she only knew me 2 weeks, she's not going to go out here and spend $7,000.
I didn't say she was involved with you for 2 weeks. She knew you from work, but she was involved with you for 2 weeks. Why in the world would she spend $7,000 for you? Now, at the time that these bikes were purchased, did you have a log home?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you in the process of selling the log home?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you tell her that you would give her back this money when you sold the log home?
No, ma'am.
When did you sell the log home?
End of August.
End of August. So if she said to me that you were planning on selling the log home, which she put in her complaint, and you were going to get the money when you sold the log home, that has a ring of truth to it. Wouldn't you say that, Mr. Calvert?
She's the one that sold the log home. She's a real estate.
You mean she sold the home and she got the money?
She sold the home, ma'am.
I'm asking you, she sold the home and she got the money, or she sold the home through her business and you got the money?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, what?
Yes, I got the money.
And what did you do with the money when you got it?
Put it back into more homes, ma'am.
You purchased more homes?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a discussion with Miss Leonard about purchasing more homes after she sold that home for you?
No, ma'am.
Did he?
Yes, he talked to me about building more homes.
What did he say about the payments on the bike?
He said to me, I want to just make payments on it until I get another log home, and then when he sold that, then he would pay me for the bike. He was kind of dragging it out.
Can I ask you a question, Miss Leonard?
Yes.
Was he as animated when you were living as a couple as he is today?
He's actually a very talented and sensitive person. His problem is his drinking.
Could never tell by me. What's it going to cost to get this thing fixed?
I have $5,800.
May I see it, please? How much is left to pay off on the bike?
$6,550.
And you have no insurance?
I have no insurance.
Why?
This is good for anyone else who purchases a four-wheeler. Your homeowner's insurance does not cover those, and when I purchased the bike, they told me my homeowners would cover it.
No, you need individual insurance for these things. All right, Mr. Calvert, you know the two defenses we were talking about when we first started this case? I don't believe either one of them. Just for the plaintiff for the amount of $5,000. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
After a case of beer in 2 hours, you're going to have an accident.
Bangs to the head,
He drinks one beer right after another until a disaster happens.
leg. I still have problems with my other leg.
But he doesn't want to admit that was what caused it.
It wasn't the drinking that was causing the accident.
You have to...
John White says co-worker Toriano Harris owes for injuring his eye. John says Toriano ripped his cornea when he tackled him at a party.
According to your complaint, sir, you were at a New Year's Eve party.
Yes.
Mr. Harris was at the same New Year's Eve party, and you claimed that he was pretty drunk, and while not intentionally, while horsing around, he seriously injured your eye.
True.
Mr. Harris says everybody was sort of fooling around and butting each other. He didn't injure you, you were just fine, and he questions whether or not he exacerbated this pre-existing eye injury that you had.
Right.
What time did you get to the party?
Probably around 12:30.
Who did you go with?
Kathy.
Where had you been before?
At another party.
Who was driving?
I was.
Were you drinking?
Yeah.
How come you were drinking and driving?
And got caught up in the celebrations.
Was she drinking?
No.
Why didn't you let her drive?
Wasn't thinking at the time.
How much had you been drinking?
Couple cups of champagne, maybe.
Whose party was this that you arrived at 12:30?
Another co-worker's, another friend.
What time did you arrive at the party?
It was a little before 12, about 11:30.
Where had you been previous to 11:30?
I live across the street, so I walked across the street to the party.
So you hadn't had any alcohol before 11:30?
Nope. Ma'am.
And what were you drinking between 11:30 and 12:30?
Had about 2 beers.
Who did you come to the party with?
By myself.
Were you by yourself the beginning part of the evening?
Yes, I was.
That sounds pretty lonely on a New Year's Eve, Mr. Harris.
Well, I had just got off work, and then I went home and found out it was a party across the street, and it was somebody who I work with. So I was invited, so I walked across the street.
Okay, so now that we've laid the foundation of this evening, you were there by yourself, you had a date, you arrived at 12:30, you arrived at 11:30, you were sober as a judge.
Yes, ma'am.
Before 11:30, after that, you had a couple of beers.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what happened to 12:30 when you arrived, Mr. White.
I came in the house, I mingled a little bit, had some more drinks. Probably 45 minutes to an hour after that time of mingling. Mr. Harris here was just a little bit out of control. He was obviously way drunker than he said he was. He was so out of control that me and some of the other guests removed ourselves from the living room of the party to like the front porch, patio type area, holding the door, keeping him from coming in. He eventually got it there on the patio where he continued his behaviors.
Describe his behavior to me, please.
Out of control is the only word I can use. He jumping around, spitting liquor at us, loud, screaming. He got down into like a football stance and just rushed me.
Describe that to me. Show me. What's a football stance?
Out here?
Yeah.
A football stance.
Okay, that kind of, okay. All right.
Brushed my legs, grabbed me by the legs, and I don't know if he was trying to put me in a wrestling move or just whatever, but as I was going down, his head hit my eye, causing the stitches that I had from a previous surgery to bust, and
What kind of surgery had you had on your eye?
I had a cornea transplant.
When?
September 20th.
You have the medical records for me?
Yes.
I'd like to see them, please. That's the injury that you're talking about, being bumped in the head by him and the
Yes.
stitches coming apart.
As
Did you go to the emergency room that day?
Yes, I did.
Who took you?
My friend here, Kathy. I actually went home to... Went back to
Kathy,
the
you have a
hospital.
last name.
Smith.
You took him to the emergency room?
Yes.
Immediately after being bumped in the head, did you leave the party?
Well, after I got hit in the eye, like I say, he took me to the ground. I think that was the initial impact. And once I was on the ground, he went for probably a headlock and came across my eye again, taking me back to the ground as I was getting up. And at that point, it was when I crawled to the bathroom, tried to wipe the little blood that I did have, and then I left the party.
How many surgeries did you have subsequent to this incident?
3.
Were you scheduled to have any other surgeries after
No.
the initial corneal transplant?
Right. I was doing...
You were doing
it was in
fine.
the period of my recovery process.
Okay, Mr. Harris. I'm going to hear you, sir.
We was at the party. We had a couple drinks. I had a couple drinks. I knew he was already there, and he was already drinking, because I can already tell the way he was talking.
You arrived first.
No, he arrived first.
No, you arrived first. You said you arrived at 11:30. They didn't arrive until 12:30.
No, he was there first before me.
Okay, keep going.
I already knew that he had been drinking because the way the slur of his speech he was talking. As the struck clock to 12, we all just was having fun. It was party, horse playing, high five. We bumped chests. Then all of a sudden, a buddy of mine had picked me up. I'm looking around like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? So then all of a sudden, he grabbed me. So when he grabbed me, I broke him off of me. And then he fell to the ground, I guess injuring his eye then. He was the aggressor. I wasn't the aggressor. He put his hands on me first.
Did you see what happened?
No, he did. I was in the other room. I'm the one that just witnessed.
Tell me your name, sir.
My name is Brian Dukes.
Do you know both of these gentlemen?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you known them?
About 3 years.
Both?
Yes.
Both nice people?
Yes, yes.
Okay. What time did you arrive at the party that night?
It was after midnight.
Were you out on the porch when this incident
Yes,
occurred?
ma'am.
Tell me what you saw, please.
I'm pretty much a witness to his pretty much out of control behaviors, Mr. Harris. He pretty, like Mr. White here said, he did get down, crouch down in the football stands and did attack Mr. White here.
Just describe to me what you saw. He got down in a football stance.
Football stands. Then he just rushed him, just grabbed his legs and took him down to the ground.
Did you assist him in cleaning up his eye?
No, ma'am.
You were just a guest at the party?
Yes.
Did you come with an escort?
No, ma'am.
Were you the only one with a date that night?
No. No.
Okay. I read your complaint that you had a video.
Yes.
Somebody was taking pictures of that
The
evening.
homeowner of the party actually was recording the whole incident.
I'd like to see it, please. Mr. Dukes, you can have a seat, sir.
Thank you.
This is the point here. This was like I say, well past 12:30. He's actually finna start spitting liquor at us. You can't hear it, but he's screaming, yelling, profanity, whatnot. This in the background. This the patio. Now this the patio area here where we at. That's the homeowner's friend, telling him that he needs to go, but he's not hearing anything. That's the charge. Right there, you can see me holding my eye as I'm going back. Then he jumps on me again. I'm trying to get up now. I brought back down. At this point here, this is where I told him, I didn't use these words, but you just messed my eye up. And he was like, all right, get up, I got you. I'm crawling off into the bathroom now. As he comes back out, he attempts to do this again, but he will stop. This was a separate person here, separate incident. And so that's the homeowner there. At this point, she was just really fed up with him. That's him hitting the door, banging on her front door, glass door.
What you're supposed to say, Mr. Harris, is, I drank too much, I was an idiot. I'm sorry I hurt you, and I'm going to pay your bills. You're not supposed to make excuses, sir. Have you seen this video before?
No.
You've never seen it before?
Never seen it
Why
before.
didn't you show him this video before? Maybe he would understand the nature of his actions.
In this process, I've reached out to him twice, not asking him to pay the bills, just to help me. Like I said, we have been friends for some time. I knew that he didn't just have this money in his pocket. But if he would
Do
just
you?
assisted, no, I don't. But if he had just assisted with the help, we probably wouldn't be here.
I'm waiting.
If he knew that his eye was messed up, why would he come to a party and have fun anyway? I mean, but you know, sometimes when you're at a party, everybody get, you know, everybody horseplay. At least they do where I'm from.
You want to take this one, or what do you want me to do?
I don't know. There are good questions and there are bad questions. That's a bad question.
You know that if you have some delicate surgery, the chances of that surgery becoming infected, inflamed, that can become dislodged, that happens. Is what you're suggesting, sir, that if you have this kind of surgery, you stay in your room? You work at a place where I assume sometimes it gets physical.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's his job. So he has to go to work. And you take care as best as you can to make sure that the people that you're working with don't hurt you, don't exacerbate a condition that already exists. When you go to a New Year's Eve party, you expect to have a little bit of alcohol, sometimes, and sometimes you even expect people to act stupid. You don't expect them to act very stupid. And when you act very stupid, Mr. Harris, and you hurt somebody, you have to be responsible and pay for it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me ask you this question, sir. You live across the street from this party.
Yes, ma'am.
You were pretty drunk.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me give you this scenario. You're walking back to your house and you're pretty drunk and you're not looking where you were going. And a car is coming down the street. They're perfectly fine. Nobody's drinking in that car. They're driving. But you dart out into the middle of the street and that car swerves to avoid you. And the people in that car are seriously injured because they hit a tree. Are you going to tell me that you think on New Year's Eve people shouldn't drive their cars because drunks sometimes walk in the middle of the road? That's the same kind of philosophy that you're trying to sell me when you say, listen, when you go to a New Year's Eve party, everybody gets drunk and they horse around. You can horse around without being an idiot. Would you like to show your boss that video?
I don't want to show nobody that video.
Well, you should have thought of that before you came here, Mr. Harris. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Twentis is suing her ex-boyfriend, 24-year-old Christopher Peterson, for a bounced rent check and the resulting fees.
Miss Davis, you and Mr. Peterson lived together for a period of time. He was your boyfriend. Your financial arrangement was that you would give him your half of the rent check, he would put in his half of the rent, and pay the landlord. But according to you, you gave him your half of the rent for October of 2006. You had an argument somewhere at the beginning of October where you called the police and had him removed from the house. And he left. He left and he closed the bank account on which this check was drawn, so the check bounced. You remained in the apartment and were forced, according to you, to pay the entire rent, including his half of the rent. Mr. Peterson says, through really no fault of his own, you weren't getting along, you'd had an argument, you went to the police, you had him removed, he wasn't living there, he doesn't have to pay rent, right?
That's right.
So, Miss Davis, when did you move in together?
May of 05.
And when did this incident occur? October of 06?
Yes.
What day in October?
October 9th, I believe.
Is that right?
That's wrong.
What date?
October 6th.
Now, Miss Davis, you're going to tell me exactly what happened on October the 6th.
On October the 6th, Mr. Peterson went out to my car without my permission, went into my car, grabbed a pack of cigarettes out of my car for himself and one for me as well. I did not ask him to do this. He did not have permission to go out to my car. When he came back and I discovered that he had taken a pack for himself as well, I was a little upset. And I confronted him on it and he lied to me.
What did you say?
I asked him if he had taken the pack, why he had taken it without asking me. And he said that he never took a pack and called me a liar. When I confronted him on it and he lied to me yet again, I got upset and basically told him I was done with the lies in the relationship. And when I told him I was done with the relationship, he didn't take that kindly. He said he was not going to give up on the relationship, that he was not going to leave, he wasn't going to give up on us. And when I told him that he did not have a choice, because I was done, he started punching himself in the face.
Show me how he did that.
He was pacing back and forth in the room that we were talking in and just started pounding on himself.
So?
I got scared and I went over to my friend's house.
Okay, he didn't touch you, he didn't put his hands on you?
No.
Okay, so you left and you went to your friend's house.
Yes.
And?
And the next morning, I was afraid to go home, so I went to the police.
What'd you go to the police for? To take you home?
I did not feel safe to go home with the state of mind that he was in.
Okay, so what did you want the police to do?
To remove him.
Why?
So that I could go home.
Well, it was his home, too.
But I was not safe in my own home.
But it was his home.
It was his home, too, yes.
So if you're not safe, he hasn't done anything to threaten you. He hasn't done anything to harm you. He hasn't put his hands on you. If anything, he was, according to you, he was hurting himself. He was acting, you know, in a self-destructive way. So if you felt unsafe because you didn't like his mental state, why didn't you just leave?
I didn't feel I should have to pack up everything in the apartment that was mine and leave because he was unstable.
Can I see what you told the police, please?
I filed for an order of protection. I didn't have a police report.
What did you say in the report that gave you an order of protection?
I told them exactly what happened.
No, I can't believe anybody issued you an order of protection based on that. Oh, you lied.
No.
Oh, yes, you did.
No.
You said to the police the reason that you were coming to ask for assistance is because he physically threatened you by raising an object over his head to throw it at you and yelled and screamed and called her names.
He had done this prior to this date.
Evicted from the house. You had reason to leave yourself if you wanted to leave, but you had no reason to force him out of the house. None whatsoever. Okay. Mr. Peterson, you want to tell me your version of the events? What happened? First of all, I don't understand this business about going out. You live together, you're sharing a house, you're sharing a bedroom, you have an intimate relationship, and she gets upset because you went out and took 2 packs of cigarettes instead of 1. Did you go out to the car to get a pack of cigarettes for her?
I went out to the car to grab a pack of cigarettes for her. I asked her that night, and she said yes.
He'd never
No, don't speak now. Don't speak. You have to be quiet. Because it's his turn to testify. Did you see how quiet he was when you were testifying? Now it's his turn.
I asked her permission the night before to grab a pack of cigarettes.
Are you on some sort of medication? Listen to me, Miss Davis. Are you on medication?
No.
Then I can speak to you frankly. I said it once. When you were testifying, he was quiet. He didn't interrupt. Now it's your turn to be quiet and allow me to take his testimony. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
Good.
The night before, I did ask permission to go to her car and get a pack of cigarettes for myself. She was okay with that.
I don't understand why there was this whole big hullabaloo because of the cigarettes, so it must have been something else fomenting in the relationship for a while.
It was because I was also unemployed for at least 3 weeks, and she
was annoyed because you weren't working and weren't buying the cigarettes.
That's correct.
Gotcha. Okay. So what happened when you came inside, Mr. Peterson?
What happened was I came inside. I went to try to get into my bedroom. She had the master bedroom door blocked. I don't know why she had it all blocked, but after an hour and a half, 2 hours later, she had the door open. There was this mysterious odor in the air, as if she was smoking something funky.
Mr. Peterson, did you at any time on the 6th of October threaten Miss Davis?
No.
Did you at any time on the 6th of October pick up an object to throw at her?
No.
Had that ever happened in the past?
No.
Did she give you her half of the rent?
Yes, she did.
For October?
Yes, she did.
And you didn't pay any of the rent?
I did pay the rent. I had my half in my checking account. She gave me her half. When I closed out my checking account, I made sure that all the money was still in the account.
Okay. How much out of pocket are you, Miss Davis?
I'm out $914.
From what?
I gave him $467, plus his half of the rent, plus the late fees and the non-sufficient
His half of the rent he's not giving
He's
you.
still on the lease.
I don't care whether he's still on the lease. You threw him out of the house without just cause. You threw him out by lying to the police. And you're not being, listen to me, and you're not being rewarded for that. If you felt unsafe about going back to your home because you felt as if he wasn't acting in an appropriate way, then you go stay with your friend, you stay with your family, you find a new apartment. But you don't lie to the police and have him thrown out. So you're not getting his half of the rent. Period. The money that you gave him, that he is responsible for if you didn't get it back. Now, so my question is, did you get that money back?
I have not seen any money from him.
So how much was his half of the rent?
$363.
And you gave him $467
I
for
gave
the
him
rent?
$467.
Why would you give him $467 if his half was $363?
Part of it was supposed to go toward another bill that did not get paid as well.
What bill?
A credit card bill.
Okay, well, then that's what he owes you, $467, not $900. You had no right to throw him out of the apartment, and you absolutely didn't have any right to lie to the police. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $467. That's
Do
all.
I get
Thank
the
you.
late fees or anything like that?
Absolutely not, madam. You had no right to throw him out of the apartment. None. Zero.
He could have said something, and so I could have covered the rest of the rent before it was
He
late.
could have said a lot of things. You also should not have gone to the police and perjured yourself. That's all. This is a sad case.
They were too young to love,
How old are you?
16.
and they paid the price.
She doesn't sleep around or fool around or anything. This was the only boy that she had been seeing.
There was never paternity tests.
Two 16-year-olds having sex is stupid. You got to learn to keep your pants zipped up, sir. Do you understand that?
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is her courtroom. This is Judge Judy.
Parties on Heron versus Brown. Step forward, please.
45-year-old contractor Vincent Herron claims that Helen Brown's 16-year-old son, Don Trail, made his 16-year-old daughter pregnant. Denise lost the baby. Now Vincent wants them to share the medical costs.
Judge, this is number 84 on the calendar in the matter of Heron versus Brown. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
This is a sad case. Sit down. Pay attention to me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Herron, this is your daughter, I assume.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are suing the defendant, who is the mother of this young man, I assume.
Yes, I am.
Because you say that her son made your daughter pregnant. She had a miscarriage. Your medical bills for the miscarriage were almost $2,000, and you want her to pay half. Is that what this lawsuit is about?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
I'd like you to step up here. You too. When did your daughter tell you she was pregnant?
The date was, when was the date? I don't
September, I believe.
It was around the end of September. That's when I learned of it.
Were you dating?
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
I know what the lawsuit is with regard to Mr. Herron. I'd like to hear from you as to why you don't believe you should be responsible for half of these medical bills. Your son is how old, 16?
16, yes. First of all, I don't believe that I'm responsible for half these medical bills because there was never paternity tests to prove that Dontrell was the father. Plus, all the stress that her dad put on her after he found out she was pregnant. I think it was about the latter part of August, I got a call from Mr. Herron telling me that Denise had got caught shoplifting a home pregnancy test, and he was really upset and telling me that he had been nice to Dontrell and Dontrell took advantage. And when I told him, well, it wasn't all Dontrell's fault, and then he tells me, well, yeah, she's the one that came to your house like a common and laid up with them. And so then the next thing I know, she's crying, saying that he had beat her.
Who beat her?
Her father, because he wasn't gonna let her have a, can I say the word?
I would prefer you didn't.
Okay, well, baby. And she stayed with her friends' houses, and even my daughter was concerned about her and was gonna let her stay with her because she was going through a bunch of turmoil. And I feel that all the stress that he put on her, and first of all, you know that being pregnant for the first time, you're scared as it is.
Well, it should, how old are you?
16.
16?
And to have undue stress and pressure put on you by someone that's supposed to be protecting you, then So I feel that he caused a miscarriage by all the stress, and that there was never a paternity test to say that Dontrell was a father. I don't see how he can tell me that I'm responsible for half the medical bills.
Mr. Herron, I'd like to hear from you.
Yes. This is absurd for them to even suggest that her son is not the father. It's an insult and it's appalling.
Well, I don't think it's an insult and it's appalling, Mr. Herron, at all. Quite frankly, I'll address that. I'll address that first, and then I'll get to the stress part.
I would like to say that my daughter has been an honor student for her tenure in school. She's currently the treasurer of her high school. She was elected that. She doesn't sleep around or fool around or anything. This was the only boy that she had been seeing. And the first time I met this young man was he had been arrested for drugs at his junior high school. Helen here, she's just pulling, anything, this stuff about beating Denise is just totally absurd.
Is that true, sir?
It's absolutely not.
Did your father hit you, Denise?
No. No.
Would you tell me if he did?
Yes.
Mr. Herron, what Ms. Brown is saying is not so bizarre as you may think, sir. 2 16-year-olds having sex unprotected, whether it was with him or with anybody else, is stupid. 2 16-year-olds having sex is stupid. 2 16-year-olds having unprotected sex is more stupid, or as my grandson would say, stupider. So, while I'm certain that Dontrell would probably stand up here and proclaim from the rooftops that this was his baby, is that right?
Yes. Well, even after the miscarriage, they stopped by the house. She even offered to help Denise raise the child.
His mother is a little more practical. His mother says, I'm not sure, because 16-year-old with all that testosterone flowing says, yes, the baby is mine. His mother says, how can you be sure?
Well, it's the only thing she has for her defense. This is her defense in chief, and it's all she's got.
Well, Mr. Herron, it's a very good defense, sir.
Well, when I asked her to, didn't offer, a dime, and she knows deep in her heart. She professes to be a Christian and to come to this court and even suggest that he's not the father.
That's not what she's suggesting, sir. She's not suggesting that he's not the father.
But there's a possibility that...
What she's saying is, under the law, in this jurisdiction and in every other jurisdiction, when you have a child out of wedlock, there is no presumption as who the father is. And in order to determine that, we now have very sophisticated testing to determine parentage of children. You know about those tests. They have blood tests, they have DNA tests, and they can prove within 100% who's the father of that child. What Ms. Herron is saying is, under the law, there is no proof that Dontrell is the father of this child. When you're married, it's a different story. When you're married, the law presumes that you are.
So we're left to go with a preponderance of the evidence here, which my daughter doesn't sleep around. They know that. They know what kind of girl she is. She doesn't have time for it. She's an honor student. She's, keep track of her, as best I can.
You didn't keep track of her very well, sir.
But if she was such an
Just a second, you didn't keep track of her very well.
Well, I said as best I can. I do operate a business, and
Mr. Herron, that's what Ms. Brown is saying.
But if she was such an honorable student and such an honorable person, she wouldn't have swore to tell the truth and then turned around and lied that you never beat her.
You're the one who's...
Listen to me, don't fight with each other. Did you tell Dontrell, who was your boyfriend, that your father hit you at some point in the kitchen in your home? Because that's what's in these papers. Did you tell... No, look at me. Don't look at the floor, Ms. Herron. Did you tell that to him?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If my 16-year-old daughter came home pregnant, I guarantee you there'd be a lot of stress in my household. A lot of stress.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. The father of 16-year-old Denise Herron wants Helen Brown to pay the medical cost for Denise's miscarriage because he says Helen's son, Dontrell, was the father.
Did you tell Dontrell, who was your boyfriend, that your father hit you?
Yes. Yes, I was upset.
So you told that to Dontrell, that your father hit you. What did you tell him about your father hitting you?
I do you mean, what did I tell?
I want you to tell me what you told him.
I said that he was yelling and got mad at me and started hitting on me.
Where did he hit you? Where did he hit you?
He didn't. I just told him that I was upset.
Well, why would you tell him that?
Because I was scared he was going to.
So what you did was you told Dontrell a lie. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you understand, Mr. Heron?
Yeah, I understand that I'm out $2,000 in medical bills for an instance that I'm not responsible for. And
listen, you are responsible for it. You are responsible for it because this is your daughter.
Yeah, I can't watch all the time just saying that she can't watch her son, but nonetheless, we're responsible for our minor's actions.
Absolutely
now,
right,
I'm willing
sir.
to accept the risk, but why should the burden of this whole thing be placed on me?
Mr. Heron, if your daughter had not had this miscarriage, and if she had had a child, and if there was a paternity test, listen to me, if there was a paternity test, and if it was established that this young man was the father of the child, he would be responsible for the support of that child, along with your daughter, until the child reached age 21. Right now, what Miss Brown is saying is that while she believes probably that Dontrell is the father of this child, she's not certain. And she's not certain because of the miscarriage, there is no opportunity to conduct blood tests. And they are not married, so the law does not presume her son is the father of this child. So she doesn't feel as if she should be responsible. And in the law,
Well,
she's
certain. She knows. It's
How does she know? Listen, the only way you can be certain is if you were there.
That's true. She knows, though she's not admitting to it. You know, she knows. If you ask her in her heart if she feels that there could be anybody other than her son, what would you say, Helen? Does Denise
What's
sleep
in my
around?
heart? I don't know what Denise does. I don't watch Denise.
Tell the court what you think.
I don't watch Denise 24 hours a day, but up until this point,
You don't watch him 24 hours.
May I speak, please? I really, like I said, when all of this happened, Denise came to me and I opened up my home and I was there for her. And I really had hoped that she would be lady enough to tell the truth here. But if she can stand here and lie and say that he never hit her and he didn't put her out, why should I believe that it was my son's baby? Because it's so easy for her to tell one lie, she could have told another lie.
Well, what she's already done is she's acknowledged here, after some prodding, that she did, in fact, she says, lie to your son about her father beating her. Now, whether her father beat her or not is really not the issue, but it is an indication that your daughter is able to lie, sir, because she says she lied to him. You understand that? And I understand where you're coming from. You say, listen, there should be two people's responsibility.
Well,
I absolutely agree with you, Mr.
Quite
Heron.
a bit of lying going on. It seems as if Mr. Trell here would be following in his father's footsteps, who I guess is...
What does his father have to do with
Mr. Heron, don't bring... I would suggest, sir, that you not bring other matters into this case which really bear no relevance to it. Dontrell, I'm going to tell you this. You believe that you were the father of this child?
Yes.
Then you pay back Mr. Heron. Do you understand?
Yes.
Then you, sir, have a moral, if not a legal obligation, to do that. Now, you go to school?
Yes.
Do you work?
Yes.
What do you work at?
At a senior citizen's home.
How much do you get paid?
$5 an hour.
And what do you do with that money?
Oh, I haven't gotten paid
Speak
yet.
up, sir.
I haven't gotten paid yet, ma'am.
When did you start working there?
It's just a summer job.
And you're going to keep that summer job?
Yes.
Well, then I would suggest, Mr. Brown, that if you want to try to get back into this family's reasonable graces, you're never going to get into their good graces, but reasonable, and assume some sort of moral responsibility for an act that you probably had something to do with, you will see to it that each time you get a paycheck, Mr. Heron gets a check or a money order. Do you understand?
Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
What are you looking at? Where are you looking all over the place? Do you understand that?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You got to learn to keep your pants zipped up, sir.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Vincent Heron says Helen Brown's teenage son made his teenage daughter pregnant, so they should share the medical costs.
Your mother is quite correct. she's not responsible because they're not able to establish, because there's no baby here, that you're the father of this child. If you believe that you are, sir, you pay for it. You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Well, are you going to do it?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
No, I don't. Just a
And I'm
minute.
the only one lying here?
Just a second. I'm telling you this. I don't know whether you two young people still see each other, either with your parents' knowledge or without their knowledge. But if there is any remote possibility that you will have a long-term relationship, any, you better start paying back Mr. Heron. And listen to me, Denise. Look at me. I'm not going to ask you whether you still see him, because I'm not going to create any more difficulty than already exists. But if he doesn't start making those payments, starting this week when he gets paid to your father, I would suggest to you that he does not have the kind of character that you want to hook up with permanently. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Good.
Your Honor, would a
Yes.
preponderance of the evidence suggest here that if he says that he's the father, I know that he is, Denise knows, Helen knows, but wouldn't the preponderance of the evidence indicate that I should get some kind of judgment?
Absolutely not, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely not, sir.
Mm-hmm.
There is not a
It's
preponderance.
as
Listen
much
to me.
in her favor as it is in mine.
Listen to me. Listen to me. You could bring anybody in off the street and say, I believe that they're the father of this unborn child. I want to be paid half of my outlay of medical costs. The only question that I asked your daughter here today, Mr. Heron, was whether or not you beat her. She said initially no. Then we went back to her and I said, did you tell him that your father beat you? She said yes. Listen to me. You say it never happened. That means somebody is lying. Do you understand?
There's no record of violence at our house at all.
No, listen to me. Your daughter said, Mr. Heron, that she told Dontrell that you beat her. That was, therefore, according to you, a lie. Is that right?
What does that have to do with the responsibility of the medical bills here? This is what I'm suing for.
Mr. Heron, you wanted, in order for you to establish, to my satisfaction, by a preponderance of the evidence, sir, that this unborn child was his child, I would have to believe...
He said, I said it, she
no,
said it. She's the
I
only one
would have to believe your daughter. In a situation where the law in this jurisdiction does not hold any presumption of paternity. I am not prepared to do that. The only thing I am prepared to do is to make a moral judgment that if this young man believes that he is the father of this child, then he has the moral responsibility at age 16 to defray some of the medical costs. But his mother does not have that responsibility because she is entitled to know whether her son fathered this child before she puts her hand in her pocket.
But yet I'm responsible for my minor. She's not responsible for hers, you know.
No, sir, unfortunately, as the father of a daughter, that's true. That's true. It seems somewhat inequitable. That's what they have paternity tests for, sir.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Could I suggest this, without the paternity test to indicate that it's 1 in a million chance, is there a possibility of getting part of the judgment? I mean, instead of saying that I'm wrong totally, I mean...
No, Mr. Heron, I just told you he's supposed to pay the whole $900 because that's half of your medical bills, $900 and some odd dollars. What is it?
With me saying that I think the baby is mine, but would it matter the cause of the miscarriage? 'Cause like
No. Doesn't matter the cause of the miscarriage, sir. That's what you put in your answer. You say because her father placed her under a great deal of stress. No. Listen to me. I'm going to get on his case, so I want you to be quiet. What you're saying is because her father placed her under a great deal of stress, that caused the miscarriage, and therefore you shouldn't be responsible. I want to tell you something. If my 16-year-old daughter came home pregnant, right, and the father, she said, was another 16-year-old who went to high school, I guarantee you there'd be a lot of stress in my household. A lot of stress. You got to learn to keep your pants zipped up, sir. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Keep yourself busy. Get 2 jobs. Think. Use your brain. You know, this is the time for you to use your brain. I know using other parts of your anatomy don't require that much effort, all right? But get 2 jobs, because he's out money, and if what you believe is true, that you are the father of this child, if you believe that, then you have a responsibility, even at age 16, to help defray the costs. We understand each other?
Yes.
That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
On the next Judge Judy. Alyssa goes with Steve. Steve and Maria had a baby. Alyssa says Maria keyed her Mustang.
Don't give me a lot of baloney. I know everything.
Real people. Judge Judy.
We discussed this in here. I don't want to get into it. If you want to question them, I'm through with the case.
This is really ludicrous that we'd have to be drug into court behind it. I mean, I thought it was a joke when he told me that he was suing me. I really did, because I didn't see how he could. I wouldn't want him to be seeing her anyway, because I don't trust this guy, because he's a total nutcase. He's a totally unbalanced, and if he was to catch them together, if he beat up his own daughter, I'd hate to see what he did to my son.
I just think he was trying to get more money than what, because the bill wasn't really no $900. His insurance paid for half of it, so he's trying to get more into his pocket.
You felt close enough to her to share a bed together, but you weren't going to buy her a dress.
The exotic dancer says she feared for her life.
He made the threat that the 2 of us can no longer live at the same time, therefore one of us has to die.
But the relationship had some advantages.
And on June 1st, you let him go buy underwear for you in Victoria's Secret.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is her courtroom. This is Judge Judy.
Parties on Flowers versus Spector. Step forward, please.
27-year-old makeup artist Bonnie Flowers says her ex-boyfriend Gene Spector became so threatening after she dumped him that she had to move out and he should pay her costs.
Calendar in the matter of Flowers versus Spector. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Flowers, you and the defendant, according to your complaint, were romantically involved for a relatively short period of time. How long?
About 4 months.
And you say that when the relationship ended, he began stalking you?
He stayed outside of my apartment for 5 hours, and I called the cops at 4.5 hours.
Your Honor, it's absolutely not true.
Just a second. As a result of that, you say you have to move, you want him to pay all your moving expenses, your first and last month's rent, and the cost of changing your locks, all totaling, $3,100. That includes the week that you have to take off from work to go look for an apartment. That's what you want, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You, on the other hand, sir, are countersuing for all the money that you say that you
that I've
loaned to her.
Yes, Your Honor.
During the course of this brief 4-month relationship. You're going to tell me about what loans these were, and you seem to acknowledge on the countersuit that you owe him some money. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
You're going to tell me about that. So first, let's get to your claim.
Okay.
You met, you began to date, you dated for 4 months, something happened. Tell me what happened, and then what happened as a result of the breakup.
Okay, during the relationship, he was very jealous and calculating at times. He would constantly pick business cards.
Mr. Spector, I'm going to get to you.
Thank you.
He would pick business cards up off my table and make sure, read them and ask where I was at all times and who I was seeing and what I was doing and that sort of thing. And then at about the 3-month point, he read through my journal and told me that if I intended to destroy him, he would destroy me. And on June 15th, he made the threat that the 2 of us can no longer live at the same time, therefore one of us has to die. I do not feel...
Mr. Spector, Mr. Spector.
I do not feel safe living at the same residence that he has visited me several times.
Well, was it in June that you decided to break off this relationship?
Yes.
Anything particular happen at that time?
He took me to Napa Valley for my birthday on June 14th. We fought the whole time. He told me at lunch on June 14th that he only had 65% of me. He wanted 100%. And I knew at that point that the relationship was definitely going in a direction. I had just gotten out of a very serious relationship, a marriage. And I told him many times that I did not have it to give to him. I wanted to take things slow, and that I wanted things open such that if I wanted to see somebody else, I would let him know. I would give him that courtesy. I wanted the same courtesy from him, and I didn't have 100% to commit to him at that time.
So then you had this argument and broke up.
Yes.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Mr. Spector, you keep saying that's not true, and I keep telling you that I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell me your version of the events, but you keep interrupting. That's not a smart thing for you to do, because it makes you sound a little bit nutty, especially since I've told you twice not to do it.
I apologize.
Good. Now, why do you think he should pay for you to move?
I need to move, and it's due to his harassment.
Tell me about his harassment.
His harassment is the 2 threats that he's made in my life.
Well, you told me about those 2 threats. The 2 of you can't live together on the same planet.
At the same time, therefore one of us has to die.
Okay. Well, maybe he's talking about himself.
I asked him if he intended on committing suicide. He said he didn't do suicide. He had connections and people that could take care of things.
Go ahead.
And I don't feel safe at where I'm living now.
Tell me about his harassment.
He's made 2 threats in my life and says that somebody else can take care of me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, what's the $600 that you say that you owe him?
During the relationship, he paid for things like when we went out to eat and shopping and such like that. He, at one time, he helped me pay for a down payment on insurance, and he also gave me $250 for my deposit for rent. So that's $350 and $250, so $600.
Just a minute. Ms. Flowers, didn't you realize that once you took money from him, you were encouraging him?
No.
You didn't realize that?
No.
Well, you should have. Well, you should have. Once you accept gifts and things from someone, and in this case, not only gifts and things, because you said he bought you things, but cash, you are solidifying a relationship. That's not smart. All right, Mr. Spector. To your version.
Your Honor, I have never realized that when I started the relationship it was going to end this way. I met Bonnie in January. I met her in the nightclub. She's a blackjack dealer.
I don't care where you met her. You met her in January.
I met her in January.
Look at me. Don't look at your paper.
We
right
enjoyed
here.
each other's company tremendously.
You dated?
We dated. We've been always in consent with each other. About 3 weeks into the relationship, I asked her to take a trip to Vegas with me. During that time, we enjoyed each other's company. She asked me to take her to one of the stores in Caesar's Palace, where she wanted to pick out some clothes for herself. We have done that, and at that time, she said that she liked the clothes, but she didn't have money to pay for the clothes. So I said I can put it in my card, and if she likes it, she can pay me back later when she has a chance. She said, that's fine. I have the bills right here.
Mr. Spector, are you telling me that you took her shopping and you told her at this time we were sharing a room together at Caesar's Palace?
Yes, we were.
Are you trying to tell me that when you took her shopping, you said, are you going to pay me back?
I did not take her shopping, Your Honor. She said she liked something in the store that she stopped by previously. She asked me to accompany her to the store.
So you went with her
So I accompanied her to the store. Yes, Your Honor.
So you're telling me that you told her that this was just a loan of the money?
I offered her to pay for the clothes because she seemed that she really liked the clothes, but she was upset that she couldn't get them. I said, if you like, I could pay for the clothes.
That I believe. Mr. Spector, do you understand, sir? That I believe.
Okay, Your Honor.
I don't believe the last part of it, which was, and you'll pay me back.
Well, Your Honor, let's put it this way, I'm a reasonable guy. We were about 3 weeks into the relationship. I'm not just going to take some girl, take her out shopping for a couple $1,000s and say, yeah. I mean, I don't do it on every day-to-day life. Yes, I did enjoy her company, but I would not just take her shopping. I'm not a millionaire.
This is a good
Yeah.
lesson for everybody. Let me understand this, Mr. Spector.
I am a
Your
generous
job?
person, yes.
You took her to Las Vegas.
Yes.
You shared a room together.
Yes, we did.
Look at my eyes, sir. You felt close enough to her to share a bed together.
Yes.
But you weren't going to buy her a dress. Because that, you wouldn't just buy any casual acquaintance a dress. Is that what you're telling me?
That is not true, Your Honor.
Is that what you're telling me?
No, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
How unchivalrous
I have
of him.
bought her things on many, many
I'm
occasions.
not talking, I'm talking about this.
That particular occasion was alone. I've bought her things before and after that
Mr.
as well.
Spector, you're not following what I'm saying to you,
I'm
sir.
trying,
Maybe
Your
it's a
Honor.
male thing.
I
Do you
don't think so,
understand,
Your
sir?
Honor.
What you're saying to me is
Trying
you
to
felt
follow you.
close enough to be intimate with Miss Flowers on your trip to Las Vegas.
That's right.
But certainly, according to you, you wouldn't buy a dress for just a casual person.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That's your corporate card?
Yes.
You paid for her underwear on your corporate card?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Bonnie Flowers says her former boyfriend, Gene Spector, should pay her moving costs because she was driven out of her home by his threats.
What monies do you say she owes you, sir?
I'm saying she owes me about 20...
For what?
Okay, I have canceled checks here for the insurance.
All right, she
for-
says she owes you for the insurance.
That's right.
$350. And can I see the date? Can I see those checks, please?
Absolutely, Your Honor. By the way, the rent check is dated June 1st. That's after she's saying I told her I'm going to kill her or whatever.
No, destroy.
No, it's not. By the way, what kind of work do you do?
I do a lot of different things. I'm a makeup artist, blackjack dealer, that kind of thing.
Because the reason I'm asking is
We're
part of the
forgetting to mention she's
expenses.
an exotic dancer
Just
as well.
a second. Is my mouth moving, Mr. Spector?
I apologize, Your Honor.
Apologizing. There's an interesting line somebody once told me. I think it goes something like, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Did you ever hear that line? Sure. Right. The reason I'm asking that question is because you say that you want $1,000 also from him to look for a new apartment because that's how much time it would take away from your work.
About a week and a half to move and to look for an apartment.
Okay. All right, sir. I'm back to you. We're back to you with regard to the money she owes you.
I've not claiming numerous expenses that I incurred during the relationship with her because it was out of my goodwill and I really loved the girl. I thought everything was going great between us. We're not talking about the rental expenses, how much time I wasted looking for an apartment, renting a truck, driving a truck.
What are we? Don't tell me what we're not looking for. What are we looking for?
What we are looking for, I would really like to get an explanation what is inside her head. I would really love to know. I still care for the girl. I have never made no attempts or threats towards her life. I would never harm her in any way, shape, or form. I have not contacted her for about a month. I was trying to forget about the whole thing when I was served with a restraining order. That is really confusing to me. What is she trying to do? I've not made any attempts to call her. I was out for about a week. I was on vacation. She's an exotic dancer. She gives her phone number to so many people. Her phone
That
rings
is
day and
so
night.
off.
I have never controlled her in any way, shape, or form. We had an agreement. She wants to see somebody, that is up to her.
Have you ever been arrested, Mr. Spector?
No, I have not.
Ever?
For traffic violations? For traffic violations, yes.
What kind of traffic violation?
Speeding.
Arrested?
Well,
for speeding?
Not arrested.
But stop. No, I'm talking about being arrested.
Well, I had a warrant for a speeding ticket that I forgot to pay, and yes, I have been
Arrested
in jail.
for that?
I have been arrested for that, yes, Your Honor.
What kind of work do you do, sir?
I'm a financial consultant, and I have an indoor air quality company, as well as appliance company.
Have you ever been married?
No.
You're not going to bother her, are you?
I wasn't for 2 months now.
That is so inaccurate.
Her restraining
Just a second.
order is a...
Just
is
a second. He says he hasn't bothered you in 2 months.
Her restraining
You have
order
a
is a way to prevent me
She's
from
so
getting my
judgy.
money.
When did you get a restraining order?
June 23rd.
Since your restraining order, after he was served with your restraining order?
After he was served with the restraining order.
Have you had any contact with him at all?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
The person that served him the papers went to his workplace, served him the papers, and got back in the car with me. We drove down the street, turned around, came back up. The defendant, I went down the wrong street. Turned around, came back up the street. The defendant came head on toward my car, blocked me in the road, got out of the car, and came right beside my window.
And said what?
I did not roll down the window. I barely got by his car and the other car beside me, and I swerved around and then I left.
That was the day he was served with the paper?
Yes, sir.
Have you had any contact with him since?
No.
Okay. Mr. Spector.
Am I allowed to say something? Yes.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Thank you. What you described partially is true. Her friend have come to my office and served me with some papers. I took a look at them when I saw it was a court date there, actually on a date when I was supposed to go on vacation, so I had to reschedule all the plans. I got pretty upset because she knew exactly when I was going on vacation. No. I didn't know what it was. Since I have not talked to her, since she called the police, I don't know for what reason, I still have no explanation. In my mind, I would like to believe that what she was doing was not gold digging from me. I really believe that she had some feelings for me. I would really wanted to know what feelings. And up to this date, I have no explanation. That was the only reason I went out of my office when I saw she was outside.
Listen to me.
Yes.
She don't like you anymore.
That's fine. I would like to hear that.
Do you like him anymore?
I would like to hear that.
You want to hear it?
Yes,
Tell
please.
him.
He threatened my life. I don't want anything to do with
that.
him.
That had never happened. Okay. That's a lie, Your Honor.
Mr. Spector?
Yes.
If that's a lie, trust me, sir, this is the truth. She don't like you anymore.
Great.
Understand?
That's fine.
Good.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He said that one of us has to die, and he will either do it himself or have somebody else do it.
Why aren't you dead yet?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Gene Spector, a financial consultant, says his ex-girlfriend, Bonnie Flowers, owes him for money he loaned her when they were together. Bonnie says she left to escape his threats.
She owes you $600 that she acknowledges. What other money do you say she owes you, sir?
Here's all the receipts, Your Honor. This is a receipt for the shopping that she said she will pay me back.
No.
And this is a receipt for...
Don't say anything till I ask you.
This is a receipt for... She asked me to accompany her to Victoria's Secret because she had a gift certificate from her mother that she wanted to redeem there. Mm-hmm. When we got there, she picked out a lot of lingerie. When we got to the counter, the gift certificate wasn't enough. She didn't have any money with her. I said, what do you want to do? She said, can you pay for it? I'll pay you later. I said, fine. That's my corporate card.
No.
I didn't even pay for it myself.
That's your corporate card?
Yes, Your Honor.
You paid for her underwear on your corporate card? You expect the government?
I wanted to get a record.
What?
Okay, I am very good with records. I didn't want to pay cash. I wanted to get a record because I felt something was wrong already at that time. I didn't know what. I couldn't put my finger on it.
Did he buy some things for you at Victoria's Secrets?
Yes, he did. He told me several times that he wanted to take me there, and I did have a gift certificate. He said that he wanted to get a bathrobe for me, and we did not find a bathrobe, so we picked out other things together.
Let me tell you, I still have a problem with you, Miss Flowers, and let me tell you what the problem is, madam. When we started this case, you told me that you had some problems with him. You had problems with him practically from the beginning, but certainly by May, June, at the end, he had become controlling. He had gone through your purse, he had gone through your cards, he had read your journal, and all those other things. And on June 1st, you let him go buy underwear for you in Victoria's Secrets.
I liked him a great deal.
Well, if you liked him, then if you want to move, you do it on your dime. Do you understand?
I understand.
Because I'm not giving you any money to move. You're not supposed to encourage somebody and let them spend a lot of money on gifts, presents, whatever else it is, while all the time in the back of your mind you're saying, this relationship is going nowhere because he's too controlling. This relationship is going nowhere because he's too suspicious. This relationship is going nowhere because he's too jealous. If that's the case, you're supposed to do a decent thing and not let him spend any money on you, which suggests to him that your relationship is going somewhere. There's just something that comes under the category of not nice about that. So you feel as if you want to move? Move. Yourself. You owe him $600.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Now, sir, you listen to me. I don't believe for 1 minute that you took this lady to Caesar's Palace and she ran up a $2,000 bill and you expected her to pay you back. I find...
Your Honor,
Listen,
you were incorrect.
listen.
It was $1,300 for the clothes.
$1,300
We're not talking about the bill for the room and everything else. That amount that I don't want to say what. That was never asked of her. That was me.
Mr. Spector?
Yes, Your Honor.
Write it off to a good lesson, sir.
Oh, I am. I've done it.
Perfect. She owes you the $600. She says it was $600. It really comes out to $551, doesn't it? Let me make sure.
No, actually,
no, it comes out to $601. $601. So in any event, the judgment in this case is for the defendant in the amount of $601.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And the plaintiff's case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out. There you go, ma'am. I'll be back foot to your right. Oh, I'll walk you out.
You can walk me out.
On the next Judge Judy.
What she claims is ridiculous. She had mental problems before that she was taken to the hospital by her mother when she was a teenager. She's a compulsive liar. That was the problem.
He said that one of us has to die and he will either do it himself or have somebody else do it.
Why aren't you dead yet?
He advertised our show as Playboy, a bunch of beautiful women in bras and panties.
They called themselves the Las Vegas Girls of Rock and Roll, but they didn't like the way they were advertised.
He just said it was a neon right outside for everybody to see. You mean to tell me you didn't see it when you walked in?
No, that's not what I'm trying to tell you at all.
You say no, I say yes, I win, I'm the judge.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is her courtroom. This is Judge Judy.
Parties on 10.